Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Make sure I'm not muted. I'm using another computer, so I don't know if all my settings are right. I had to plug everything in, and earlier it seemed like it was fine. I couldn't even make videos today because I was trying to fix my actual computer.
So we know who to thank. That's good.
Yeah.
I like your glasses.
Oh, thank you.
That might be the first compliment Eric has ever gotten for a pair of glasses he owns.
Well, no, you were telling me, you were asking me where you could get them from in DMs, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's just mainly so I could like sort of like in Call of Duty, a Predator missile, that type of thing.
Okay, got it. No, this weekend was crazy. So we had a snowstorm come through, which ended up being an ice storm. It wasn't so much snow as it was ice, but it ended up like causing all kinds of issues. I was at work and I'm looking outside as the snow and ice is coming down. I'm like, I have to drive home in this stuff. Hey, Cody, what's up? How are you? And so I actually went to the owner of the club and I was like, this is at 12 o'clock on Friday. And I was like, can I leave? Can I go? Like after we're done with our performers, can I get out of here? I don't want to stay. And he was like, yeah,
that's when Eric found out he was a prisoner and he was never allowed to leave.
No, that's not the case. It's not the truth. But look, I went to look outside and it was like a Christmas miracle after Christmas. And it wasn't snowing or doing anything at that point. And so I was like, okay, I'll stay. So I stayed, but then it started up again. It was pretty bad coming home. I got home and I was going in to get everything set up and I realized the internet was going very slowly. It reminded me of our old after parties where I couldn't tell if it was like working or not.
Like I'd just be talking to myself.
Yeah.
And Eric would just fade into it, just would have like sucked into the phantom zone. I'm like, hello.
Yeah. Defunct likes all the glasses. Look, there we go. But I was doing that and I'm like, okay, this isn't working. So I went and checked my my phone, which is on cellular service, and that was working fine. But my home service was not. And so I was like not confident that it would hold up for the 5-hour stream. Because like there's nothing more annoying as a viewer to come into a show and watch somebody struggle with their internet while they're trying to enjoy the show. Because you're watching someone troubleshoot their own issues while you're trying not to. You don't want to come into something where problems exist, because that's why you're there, is to get away from like dealing with your own problems. So I was like, I'm going to make a call and just decide not to do it. But then we lost power too. So I had no internet. And then the next day I had no power. So it would have been bad, because even if the internet would have been working like halfway through the stream, my power would have gone out. So that was like not good.
I would have just kept going.
Yeah. Everybody else would. I would have been on my phone like trying to cancel the stream or whatever.
And then someone would have said something racist, and all of a sudden,
no, that's the funny thing about StreamYard is that if you don't have someone set as like a channel, like because you can have like one or two people, I think as I don't know what they call them, seats, I think, like seats within StreamYard. If you don't have someone in one of those seats, then your stream just keeps going.
Yeah, I did last year, I think it was for X-Men 97, I was doing a stream on my channel with Darth, and my power went out. And Darth was just stuck there for like 25 minutes, just doing the stream solo, because I wasn't there. I couldn't get back in.
I actually think if you reach your maximum recording limit, it stops the stream. I think that's how it works. Like because I think you get 50 hours. Right. So if your stream goes on for 50 hours, then it'll cut off. But there's no way to really petition YouTube. I had a friend of mine that got drunk on stream and passed out, and their stream was just going.
Friend, Eric, quote unquote friend.
And when that was happening, I tried to contact. There's no way when you hit report. There's no like, hey, my friend passed out drunk. Can you stop their stream? Like that's not. You have to like report them for something. And I was like, I don't want to get them in trouble because they didn't actually do anything wrong.
Right.
So hey, Quinlan, how are you doing? Anyway, we've got a few things to talk about today. I guess we'll go over the topics. Oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm doing my the fan film reaction stream early in the afternoon. So if you guys want to come and hang out for that, you can do that. Also, there's a bonus topic for Saturday because I'm still trying to fill time for the stream. It is 5 hours, so there's a lot of room for stuff. So that's up right now if we hit the tip goal tonight. And I'm hoping that we can actually hit our month goal too, because we're very close to hitting the full month goal. You guys have been amazing We got 8 days to go, so if we don't hit it today, we'll hit it on Thursday most likely. But we might be able to hit that tonight if we get all the super chats in for this goal. But the options are going to be for the bonus topic for Saturday. This is the final bonus topic, which is top 5 favorite DC films, not DCU, DCE, just DC films in general. They could even be animated if people want. Top
Can
5 favorite
fan fiction? Can they be fan films?
No, because you're not going to pick Superman Solar. So
yeah, I won't. You will. You'll take my choice.
Top 5 favorite Marvel films. Again, all Marvel films, so that includes Sony or Fox or whatever animated. And then then it's the least favorite. Top 5 least favorite DC films or top 5 least favorite Marvel films. So you guys get to pick on that. Saturday. It's a bonus topic, for Saturday. So I'll have all the topics ready for everyone. And what I'll do is I will send them out again. You're trying to cut me off. Let me finish what I'm saying. I will send them all out to everyone prior to Saturday. So if people want to come up with their choices, they can. Now, what were you going to say, Paigey?
Can you address Fetman's comment in the chat?
Imagine if Eric blipped out midstream and Paigey turns into a Ray Fisher appreciation stream. I mean, that would be on you. It wouldn't be on me. Right?
Yeah, it would be on your channel.
Yeah, but it's you talk. It's not like you'd be pretending to be me.
Yeah, but I could put on a voice.
I would say you could do an AI voice, maybe. Oh, this is wild. Look, go ahead. Finish what you're going to say, but I have to tell you what I saw today on Instagram. But go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
Instagram Reels?
No, finish what you're going to say, and then I'll tell you.
Oh, I was going to say I could just do my let's be honest, perfect American accent.
You did that once before. I was going to say it wasn't perfect.
Hot dog. You just have to sort of draw out your words.
Yeah, no, it wasn't perfect.
What was the other one you said the other day?
I don't know. What did I say?
I don't know. Does anyone remember?
Tell me. You always have the memory of everything that I've done. So what
it was
did I
like
say?
bot or something. It was like instead of like bot, it was bot.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I'm sure you don't.
Well, so on Instagram, this isn't a story or whatever, but on Instagram, I logged in and it made a picture of me in AI and was like, "Would you like to use this picture?" And I was like, "What?"
Was it good?
I had to look it up. No, apparently now they are taking your images, like your face and everything, and offering to give you an AI photo to share to your followers.
Wow! So now you can actually officially say there is an AI pink photo of you because they were taking your real pink photo and turning it into AI.
Yeah. So this is something that. I think this goes a little bit too far. Let me tell you why. Because now they are showing you that they are literally training their data or training their AI off of your data, even if you're not opting into it just from being on their platform, which is, I think, kind of bad. I think people should have to say yes or no. Like, I don't have an issue with platforms saying, hey, we want to train our software with our content. But I think as the user, you should be able to opt in and out of it. It shouldn't be a blanket statement. You know what I mean?
Or something that by default, if you just sign the terms and conditions, that little tick the box or something when you sign up.
Yeah. I think a few people came out and said that AI has trained as much as it needs to now, unless it goes to the next step. Like, I feel like they said most AI models have enough information to do everything they want to do outside of real-time stuff. So, for example, if you want to ask them how to make a pizza, unless there's been some update today on how to make a pizza, they would have all the information they need to tell you how to make a pizza. So basically, they have everything they can possibly have been trained on has been done already. So that's kind of crazy. It's a little bit crazy to me, I think, personally.
It does sound very crazy, Eric. I have to agree with you. It's a very crazy thing.
Crazy, wild. It is a wild situation.
Crazy, yeah. Can you spell crazy in a different way, or is it? I guess you could just be really stupid and say quazy.
You could do quazy, with a W, quazy.
That's really cringe, though.
You guys are quazy.
Please never do that again. Like, please,
quazy. Anyway, but so tomorrow, fan film reaction stream. Batman Beyond Year One is the big one, and then I'll do a couple of other ones while we're doing that. That's going to be tomorrow afternoon. It's already scheduled, so just check the schedule for that. Thursday, again, Nocturnal Nerdcast, and then Saturday's the 5-hour stream. So those are all the streams for the week right now. All right. We have a super chat from Naruto, $5 super chat. Thank you. Kicking us off. Did you all see the video of the fire NATO in LA over the weekend? I've seen, so my issue with this, we talked a little bit about it on Thursday night is there's too many AI videos out there of what's going on and too many AI photos.
Well, it's not even that. It's also people using old footage. Like I saw someone use a photo. I think it was from like a Canadian wildfire or something. Yeah. And it was from like 7 years ago. And someone said it was like someone like one of the planes that gets the water missing the fire completely. They miss it, like they drop it like 100 yards away. Like, oh, nice aim they've got out there. But apparently it was from like a training exercise in Canada 7 years ago.
I think that unless we get some sort of legislation or some sort of universal, I don't know how you would do it, internet code like Creed or whatever, on how to deal with fake shit, I think the internet's kind of cooked.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's sort of been that way for a while. I guess like it's good things like on YouTube.
I think it's worse now. Because it's so much easier.
Yeah, but it's because more people are like chronically online and stuff. But at least on places like YouTube, and though Twitter's a bit slow with it, they still end up doing it for like I'd say like 95% of it is the community notes. Like YouTube's pretty quick with it. I think that's just because it's a Google thing.
Well, there's a website where you can take pictures and upload them, and they'll tell you if it's AI. But they need to have that software on every platform. Every platform has to have that.
AI is the hardest one
because Facebook is the worst.
Yeah,
Facebook is literally the worst.
Facebook is awful. Yeah.
I saw look. I should have saved it to share it here, but I saw a poster for After Earth 2 with Will Smith in it, and so many people were commenting on it, going, "That movie sucked. Why are they making a second movie?" And I'm like, "This is awful. Like, there's literally no fucking there's no precautions or any sort of heads up that this is fake." And there's so many pages that do that. And if you've got Facebook Reels, that's a whole different level of like AI bullshit.
Like Facebook Reels?
Yeah, because Instagram and Facebook both have Reels.
The same thing. They're just on like a simulcast sort of thing.
It's like if you connect your Threads, Instagram, and Facebook together, if you share a Reel to Instagram, it automatically shares to your Facebook. So it's a lot of that stuff. But the issue is like, and I'd pull it up here, but the fact is that it's the worst stuff. It's like America's Got Talent, but all AI contestants, or dragons are real, or mermaids and shit. Like, it's just the worst stuff. And the thing is, I look at it and immediately know it's AI. You can tell it's AI, but so many people that look on there don't know that it's AI. No. So you see people commenting, "Is this real?" It's not fucking real. It's a giant crab with a mermaid tail and women's boobs. Right. Like, it's not real.
But also, like, how much of Facebook is like your mother, your grandmother, your aunt, who don't really know what AI is, right? Like that thought isn't even in their mind. Of course it's real. They're seeing it right now. And that's kind of like what they're targeting on Facebook. Like they know they can get away with the most over there that they can't anywhere else.
Let's see. I think there's one. I think this might be the video you're talking about, Naruto. We're gonna look at it. Let me Yeah, this is from ABC, so I think it's a legit one. Unless they're participating in spreading fake shit now. Which I wouldn't put it past any of these companies for doing that. So this is the fire tornado, as they call it here. It's fire tornado flares up at Palisades Fire in Southern California. Let's take a look at this here. So I don't think there's any audio for this. I think it's just the raw footage. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, it looks like it. Let's go back a little bit. Well, this is why, when we talked about it the other night, this is why I said that there's not a lot that people could do for some of this stuff, because it is so incredibly dangerous and difficult. Like, if real life superheroes were around, this is the kind of stuff they would deal with, to be quite honest. Like, this is what you would see, like Superman coming in to stop and things like that, because it's just not something that we are capable of dealing with at a high level. And a lot of the stories I'm seeing are pretty heartbreaking too. Like, people, like, I know people don't want to give any sympathy towards celebrities, but I'm seeing a lot of people, like, just regular folks who have lost everything, businesses,
I think it's important. Like, isn't like, yeah, but people really remember, just because Los Angeles is where Hollywood is set and stuff. Like a lot of those celebrities don't even live in Hollywood. Like it's the active ones. Like they're producers and stuff, and like they're or like they're TV people or something like that. I think it's like
influencers. Yeah,
it's like 90% or something of it. It might even be higher. Is like working class in Los Angeles. So like carpenters, you know, people that work in retail, you know, they're all like they might be like a real estate agent or something like that. They're working class, and like a bunch of those people that had their houses burned up, like they might be, you know, had a house and everything. They probably worked their ass off to get that house.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's so like in my area, we were dealing with snowstorms that were trapping people and people like I don't know how it was for you where you are, Darren, but in my area and south of me, we're not typically set up to deal with that level of snow. And I know they say there's like a blizzard possibly coming through south of me at some point, I guess in the next week or so. So you have one side of the country so hot and dry that fires are literally starting. And then where I am, it's so cold and the ground is so cold that we're getting these crazy ice rains and snow and stuff. So it's just like two completely different worlds.
Right.
So, yeah, everybody just do what you can. Stay safe out there. So, all right, I guess we should go ahead and get into everybody's favorite part of the stream. Well, maybe not everybody's favorite part, but definitely my favorite part. So, it seems like Superman might be going to the biggest event of the year. That's right, the Puppy Bowl on February 9th, which I saw a lot of people clowning on this. Well, first of all, is everybody familiar with what the Puppy Bowl is? Everybody know what this is? I don't know if they have it in Australia
show?
or not.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah. Paigey, are you familiar with the Puppy Bowl?
Yeah, I've seen little.
Not like a bowl they drink out of, Paigey. Like the Puppy Bowl. Like it's a event.
It's like bowling, right? They get the dogs.
Right, that part. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been investigated for animal abuse, I think, over the past few years. Dogs aren't meant to go into that.
So I know a lot of people were joking about this, but you have to understand the way James Gunn seems to be setting this movie up with like crypto and stuff. This actually seems like a really smart way to advertise the movie to people that may not have even known it was coming out, to be quite honest.
I mean, we knew since they announced crypto, we're like, oh, that's to marketing. That's to marketing, and it's smart marketing. Like, market to family and children and people who like that. That dog's gonna be in every trailer, every poster, every Funko Pop, every post. Like, he's gonna be everywhere. It just simple as.
How are we feeling about the design now? We've had a while to like settle in on it, I guess. Are we still like on the fence about the design, or how do we feel? I mean, look, we can't do anything about it. I'm just wondering how everybody's feeling about it at the moment.
I mean, I personally, I understand why people did. I get change is hard. I personally never had an issue with it. I think, I think it's fine. And I think like this will be crypto to people once the movie comes out. Like this will be like the defining design for the character.
Right.
I don't know. I it's cute. I don't have a problem with it.
Meister said he's perfect. Paigey, how are you? Because I know you were one of the people that had a little issue with the design. Are you still salty about it, or?
Oh, the design's still not very good, but it's the same with like the suit. The suit's not great either, but like it's one of those things like it's already done. Like you got to live with it. Like like it's the choice has been made.
Yeah, I have to say I wasn't somebody that like was I'm gonna hate this. It's gonna be the worst thing ever because it is just a aesthetic choice or whatever. But after seeing the trailer, I was a little bit more on board with the design. I think once I saw the dog moving around and how they were going to portray the dog and the cape and the collar and all that stuff and everything, I was like, okay, this is good for me. But it is going to be interesting to see if this amounts to any. I don't know how they'd even how do they determine that when people go to the movie, ask them about the theaters? Hey, did you see this at the Puppy Bowl? Is that where you saw the trailer at?
Well, I think the big thing for the Puppy Bowl is just the fact that like it's going to be a lot of families watching it, and I think that's the core thing is that, like trying to make kids, I think, particularly interested in Superman again because that's the biggest hardest thing. Like kids are always going to be into Batman. because there's so much of the animated stuff, and even if it's ongoing at the moment. It's just a natural thing, and then you can like pretend to be Batman. I mean, sorry, no one can fucking fly, so you can't pretend to be Superman outside of like just shoving your fist in the air and going, "I'm pretending to fly." You know, if someone can pretend to be Batman, they can, they can crash.
I mean, you could attach yourself to a string and like,
and then the string would snap, and then they're dead, and then we've got a dead kid. Eric,
I didn't say I was advocating for that. That was your fantasy.
It sounds like you're giving ideas. If there's any children under the age of 10, one, why you're watching? Two, don't do that.
Yeah, don't watch. Turn away.
But you know what they can do? Yeah. Everyone has a dog. Everyone can pretend to have a super dog.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say not everyone has a dog. But
well, but like
everyone can have a dog. Anybody can have a dog.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think some people might be banned legally because of like cruelty. So they be allowed.
Well, they wouldn't. They don't need to pretend to be Superman then.
They would be Lex Luthor because they'd be wanting to kill the super dog.
Yeah. I did see some people having a conversation about the sort of old-fashioned duo of Superman and Fantastic Four being back-to-back with each other, because a lot of people would say that the Fantastic Four is sort of an old-fashioned superhero team, and I wouldn't disagree with that. I think it does sort of represent that era of comic books. I know they've tried to update it over the years, but still people think about it. You can think back to like the early days of comics. Superman sort of represents that too. So I'm wondering if that's going to affect how sales go. Like, are we going to see older people who like the classic stuff go out and see these movies? Superman and Fantastic Four, is that what's going to happen? Because even the vibes of both of them feel like they're trying to sort of do a bit more of traditional takes on the characters.
Not really. With Fantastic Four, an old head comic book reader, you're going to have like 3 in the world. So like, it's going to be like, if old is going to be the people that watch the 2000s Fantastic Four. Like, Superman's different because there's always been Superman lurking, whether it was the Christopher Reeve films, whether it was all the those 4 movies that came out, or even some of the TV stuff, whether it's Lois and Clark, whether it's Smallville, and then the modern days. So Superman's got a leg up, and also it's Superman. Like, it's Superman.
Right.
Like, if you ask someone to list the members of the Fantastic Four, they might be able to say, the Thing, and that's about it.
Right.
But I mean, so you're disagreeing that it is that it's old fashioned. You're saying that's not true.
Well, I don't think Fantastic Four people see it as old fashioned. They'd see Superman as old fashioned. I don't think people see the Fantastic Four as old fashioned.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Fantastic Four is really going to have to market to a whole new audience. Like, I think you're going to have to convince people for the first time to go see Fantastic Four. Like, I don't think you can rely on nostalgia for that. Like, yes, there was the older movies and stuff like that, but like, not enough to bring in an audience. Like, not enough for them to care. Be like, oh yeah, I used to watch that movie when I was a kid. Unlike Superman, where it's like, I feel like everyone at least has some association with Superman. Like, even if it's small, maybe you caught an episode of Smallville, or you like the Christopher Reeves movies, or whatever it may be.
I saw there was a comment here from Lance that I want you to address. What do you think about that? Why is Darren the granddad? I'm trying to figure that one out.
Well, I think Lance, like, what's like, I think this might have been a case a couple of weeks ago, but I think Lance might have gone back into that psychosis that he was dealing with. Like, remember he picked up, like, was it like an avocado and started going, Mom, like.
Zaya says they're not excited for this movie, for Superman specifically.
Well, I'm very interested to see, like, if they do anything for the Super Bowl, or this is their thing. Just because Warner Brothers owns because it's on, is it on TNT or is it TBS? I think it's on one of them. It's on one of the.
I think it's on TBS, but yeah.
Yeah. So they own that. So that's why they're doing it. They're not like, they don't have to really go too much.
It doesn't cost them any money to do this. It's basically free advertising for them.
And it's not during an ad. It's during the actual broadcast. So it will be interesting to see. And they said, like, I think last year, like, had 12.6. I mean, who knows, it can be up or down, but it also depends, like, where it is. And I mean, they say they're going to do like a sneak preview, which is of course going to be something crypto related. So,
right.
And like, I think they said Gunn's going to be on there with his dog. But I must say, I think we might have talked about this like a month ago.
Okay.
And I think it might have been due when Creature Commandos came out and they had Gunn in the intro. And it had, like, they're really trying to push Gunn as like this public face for the DCU. I think this is another example of it, but I do wonder, do you think it's working? Like, do you think that's going to, or not necessarily if it's working, because we don't know, like, because not many people. I mean, do you see the Nielsen ratings came out and Creature Commandos wasn't on the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, obviously, not a lot of people watched Creature Commandos, so they didn't see that animated thing. So you can't really get a grasp on whether it worked on that side of things. But I think they might be trying too hard to make Gunn Feige in regards to like this, like. But Feige has like a mythical
but we talked
aura.
about it. I don't think it's a 1-in-1 comparison between.
It's not, but I think they're trying to make him like that. When people think of the DCU, they think of, when you think of the MCU, who's the first person you think of? Kevin Feige.
Yeah, I get that.
So I think they're trying to like it, but Feige's got like that mythical aura around him where he just pops up
he's not terminally online, so he doesn't interact with people like James Gunn does.
Like he shows up at a premiere and then that's it, or at Comic-Con and then like that's it. That's the only time you're ever going to see him. You're not seeing him tweeting at "I love Batman's balls," going, "Oh, is Batman coming out?" It's like, yeah, fucking wait. Like that's his reply, you know.
Shout out to 3Dub.
But here's what I'll say. I actually think he's going a different approach with it. Where Kevin Feige's like this mythical god that comes out once a year to tell us news. James Gunn comes across as like a friend, right? I think he's very like accessible. Where like he's someone where you could reach out to him and be like, "Hey, what's this thing?" He'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's this thing." And I feel like long term, like I think you kind of feel like that. Like it feels like you're going with him through the entire journey of this announcement. Like he's just kind of in contact with everybody. And I think long term that actually will help, at least for like the chronically online people that are seeing that. Like my uncle's not seeing that or anything, but like for those people, I think that's going to help. And it's just like with time, like right now, it's not going to work, but like in 5 years, I think everyone will know who James Gunn is.
It's one of those things like live by the sword, die by the sword. With the Feige one, it's like a whatever, because it's just like any other producer. But because like, I mean, I know it's for like the people who like probably don't process stuff normally, but like I can tell like when Gunn's replying to someone, he's just like, "Fuck this dude." Okay, here's a stupid reply to, just shut you up.
No, that's true.
Like a lot
that
of
is true.
Stuff. So it's like it can be a bit like I know specifically the word to use in this situation, but like it can feel a bit fake if you want to put it. But I mean, you should see if it works because Comic-Con's weird this year because Superman comes out like 2 weeks before it, so that you can't use Comic-Con for any Superman thing. So I wonder if they try and put Gunn in not a situation like a fucking like blackmail thing, but I don't know what they could, like the only thing I can think of is CinemaCon. They can't keep turning CinemaCon into like this warm.
They're trying. That's where the Aquaman shit came from, like right before the Aquaman movie came out.
They can't keep trying to do that. So I don't know where they're going to try and wheel James Gunn out into next for it. I'm trying to think because there's nothing really else before it, unless like Warner Brothers try and do something themselves. But I don't know.
Apparently, Lance had conversations with Bo DeMaio. Bo DeMaio says that Cap 4 is being used to market Wolverine because of them introducing Adamantium. So I asked him, did Cap 1 rush to introduce Black Panther since they talked about Vibranium? He's asking the tough questions. Let me know if you got an answer. We did have another super chat here from Naruto. $2 super chat says, I saw Haley Joel Osment lost his house. There's a lot of homes. It's the weird thing is it's not hitting all of them. So some houses are right next to other houses that have been destroyed and they're still standing. Like there's some damage, but they weren't destroyed. I am curious to see what the aftermath on property cost is going to be after this is all over, because it was already one of the most expensive places, if not the most expensive place to live in the country. So I'm curious to what's going to happen, because there's going to be a lot of rebuilding that's going to go on. And by the way, I think that industry, the industry for like building homes and things like that, there's not going to be enough of those workers to make all of this happen overnight. So it's going to take a long time.
Have you seen the? One thing that's been very interesting to see that people haven't really talked about too much. You wouldn't want to be a 21-year-old actor who's really trying hard to get into the industry, or a writer or something like that. You're paying rent and your lease comes up in about a month.
Right.
Because guess how many people are going to be looking for rentals in Los Angeles that lived in the Palisades and those other areas?
The other thing is apparently, I don't know if this,
suck.
I do not want to spread misinformation. Okay. So I'm saying that I don't know this for sure.
Can you please? I'd love to hear you spread some
No, I don't do that.
misinformation.
Don't do that. But apparently they're saying that there were some people that were, and we talked about it a little bit on Thursday, that there were people actually going around and purposely starting fires in places to make it look like it was
places like just over the hill or something from.
Yeah.
Can't remember what place it was, and they arrested a couple of people, but they were sort of stupid as well because they're lighting them in places where they would have caused a fire, but they wouldn't have been able to spread unless the wind was really big or something. But that wasn't like valleys almost. It's like, so it's obviously like dumb people lighting fires. But
all right, so let's move on here to someone that I wish would look. I want to preface this by saying that I'm not saying that they should be forced to shut the fuck up. But I just wish they would, because I'm so tired of hearing from them. And I will be so glad once they stop getting cast in anything DCU related. I'm not advocating for a loss of job. I'm not saying that.
Sounds
but
like
I'm saying that I would not be sad if they were not in every single thing. And that is Frank Grillo. Because
what happened now?
He opened his mouth. He just says stuff. Frank Grillo says Batman Nightfall is one of James Gunn's favorite comics. How, is he his best friend now? Like, what the fuck is going on? I do not like this guy, and I'm not going to make video after video talking about how much I don't like him. I just don't, something about him it does not vibe right with me. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, I think it's concerning because I don't like that whole era of DC Comics when they were just trying to do like dramatic shit to get people to buy the comics. Like this was, for those that don't know, Nightfall happened like a year after the death of Superman or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It was around the period. It was like,
no, this was the era where they went into that whole extreme era where comics were being overproduced, and it almost caused the comic book industry to completely go under for both Marvel and DC.
The only ones, Marvel and DC were about to go under. The only one that was going decent was it Image?
Yeah. Because Image had all of the writers and artists that left Marvel and DC.
And they were actually producing stories and Vertigo, funnily enough, as well, because they were actually generating stuff that people were buying, and they weren't going like for all this edgy, like, or dramatic shit, like everyone's dying. Make sure you buy the comics or they're going to die. Yeah,
pretty much. Anyway, I don't like him, so everything he does annoys me, and I know that's probably unfair because it's just a vibe thing, but it is what it is. Let's move over. I want to talk about this. This is the big topic. I'm going to go ahead and get it out of the way, only because I feel like we should go ahead and tackle it. Let me bookmark this.
Rip off the Band-Aid, as they say.
Yeah, here we go. All right, so let's start out with this story. Andy Muschietti and James Gunn have not met face-to-face since the filming of Superman. A source close to the parties confirmed Andy and Gunn speak regularly. Batman, the Brave and the Bold remains in development and will be separate from the Matt Reeves universe. This is probably the toughest... I think we're going to keep going back and forth with these leaks and stuff until there's some sort of official announcement, right? I feel like until there is literally James Gunn comes out and says the script is done and the movie is going to start production in like a month or something, these rumors are going to keep flying around because Andy's not saying anything concrete. James isn't saying anything concrete. It's just a lot of they're talking, they're having conversations, they're emailing. It's just a lot of that.
They're sexting. Yeah, it's just getting a bit. My biggest thing with this is I don't care if they're fucking talking, because you know what the biggest issue is that we're not going to get this movie anyway, even if it is happening, even if it's in development until 2029 anyway. And at that point, it's like, hold on, we're in this movie 4 years after this Superman film, where apparently it's meant to be like this developed universe and stuff. It's like, what the hell are we getting in between? Fucking Clayface 2? Like what? Like what's going to fill in that void? Or are you going to get Batman in a project before he's in his own thing? But I don't think Gunn would have. I know you're going to say, well, people would say, Creature Commanders. I'm sorry, Silhouette's not an appearance. But, I don't know what they're going to do. It's just a long time. So unless he's in Teen Titans or something like that. But regardless of whether they're talking or not, that massive gap because they're not going to, if Batman Part 2 comes out at the end of 2027, the earliest you get Brave and the Bold is maybe halfway through 2029, but I could see them pushing until it's exactly
that feels so fucking far away from me. Look, the crazy thing about that is we will be electing a new president by the time this movie comes out.
Yeah, you'll be voting for Ron DeSantis.
But the reality is that that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a full presidential term before we ever see this movie come out, even if they agree tomorrow that the movie is good to go. And we still don't know if Matt Reeves' movie is going to make its date. Like, we don't know that for sure. Because this will not come out before that, meaning that whatever the date on that movie is will determine when this movie comes out. And it's probably not going to be right after the other movie. They're not going to release them very close together. That's not going to happen.
No, I mean, I think that, like, again, like, I think that 2027 date for Batman Part 2 isn't even that bad. I think this is the issue with that.
This is the issue, yeah.
Yeah, if, like, I think, like, I'd actually be completely fine just letting that franchise take as long as you need to make the art you want to, but it's when, like, I think I've had a little bit of a resentment to the Matt Reeves stuff recently, because it's like, it almost feels like that's keeping us from being able to work on this, because they have to focus on Part 2.
But I also don't. It's just holding back on this. I think it's holding the entire DCU back.
Yeah.
Bingo! Because this movie is important, and this also shows the problem with greenlighting mainstream DCU projects and the Elseworld stuff. Because if the Elseworld stuff is going to hold up the main DCU stuff, then that's an issue. They need to make sure that the Elseworld stuff is so vastly different from whatever they're doing in the DCU that you don't end up with these kinds of things. This is a problem.
This should have been, like, your priority. This and Superman should have been at least in the first 3 or 4 projects. Like,
how about you just tell Matt Reeves he has to wait because you want to work on this one first? Because it doesn't matter. The fans of that Matt Reeves universe will wait a decade if they have to get it.
Or why don't you just go to Matt Reeves, like, sorry, mate, pack it up, suck it up, but you can choose any DC movie you want to do. Come to me, pitch whatever DC movie. I'm sorry, Andy Muschietti's got Batman Brave in the Bold. We already gave it to him. Come up, give me anything. If you want to do, fuck this, that, and the other. Come up and tell me. You know, they should have done that, because it was always going to be an issue. Like, if the Elseworlds, if the franchise that was going on, let's say Joker 2 was really successful and they want to do Joker 3, fair enough, because it's a villain. It's not going to really affect your main stuff going forward. You can still use Joker as a villain in a Batman movie if you want to. But this just holds back because this is a planned movie. It's one of the movies that was announced first off. It just holds everything back in such a not in just a creative way, but I think also just in a negative way. Like, because everyone just wants to see Batman. They want to see this fantastical version of Batman, and instead we're holding it back so we can get, you know. And I enjoy the first Batman movie by Matt Reeves. I don't love it, but I enjoy it, and I'm interested to see what he does with the second one. But I'd much rather see whatever Batman we're going to get here. Even if the movie's not great, you're still going to get a fucking cool Batman that we haven't seen really before. As I said, the closest one we got to seeing elements of it was Ben Affleck's, and arguably the Ben Affleck directed portions that Andy Muschietti did in the Flash movie.
Yeah.
And this kind of feels like the Ben Affleck thing all over again, where it's like they are just struggling to get a solo movie out. They just don't know where to put it. They can't get it out. There's production stuff. I don't know.
Well, go ahead. Sorry, Darren.
You know what I would have done in, like, a dream scenario? Obviously, they never would have done this. But if I was, like, living in a dream world, I would let Matt Reeves do the movie, do the movies, and in this dream world, I would do a TV show. I would do this like 10 season long TV show, so you're not conflicting on the movie side. You don't have to have that movie, but you can have the show just come out every year and a half with a new season, and you can, like, develop that season. It can kind of relate with what, like, that universe is doing without reflecting with, like, what Matt Reeves is doing. So you can kind of have the best of both worlds. Obviously, they would never do that because they want it to be in the box office. They want it to make money and stuff like that, but.
So my thing is, before we wrap up this topic, do we believe, and Darren, you kind of made me think about it there, do we believe that they could possibly do a Bat Family TV show that isn't Brave and the Bold to just sort of get the ball rolling on this Batman universe? Like something like they did with Penguin leading into the Batman, where it doesn't necessarily have Batman in it, but it's in Gotham and stuff. Could they do something like this where we get to see maybe one of the Robins that is older, who's doing his own thing somewhere else, or something along those lines? I mean, there's so many characters that you could do a Catwoman series about the DCU Catwoman, something to sort of get the ball rolling. I just feel like we need to do something.
That might be Teen Titans, to be honest. Like, I think that might be kind of what they do with that, because that's already Robin, you know, depending on which one you choose to do with that, and, like, his relationship through that. Like, we'll probably see, like you can have a scene there where you show Batman training Robin or something to kind of like set the ball rolling. Which I don't like doing that. Like I would rather you have a Batman movie first, before Teen Titans, but that might be their best option at this point, and maybe that's why they were like rushing it to get that out.
And I do think that's the reason why this universe feels a little bit all over the place, because the cohesion just it isn't there.
Right.
And as a fan, we have been trained, and I say this as someone who loves all of these movies, though, we've been trained by Marvel that this is how a cinematic universe is supposed to feel.
Right.
And the problem is with James, he's got to not only dismantle that sort of archetype that Marvel has created, but he also has to reinvent the wheel, because he wants to do something different, not because he has faith that being different is the correct way, but because he just doesn't want to be like Marvel. And I don't know if that's his decision, if that's David Zaslav's decision, whose decision that was to do it that way. Because it feels to me like he wants all of the benefits that Marvel has from doing everything they've done, but also coming in and having all the creative freedom that Marvel doesn't have with some of their projects, with all of their directors. Because like we talked about the Clayface thing, as much as it does sort of annoy me that Clayface is coming out before some of the other stuff that we love, the reality is that's the kind of environment that he's trying to set up, is this creative vision project environment, while also having a Star Wars sort of cinematic universe. I just don't think it's working. I don't think it's working at the moment, because we're getting these stories where clearly these kinds of things come out because people want that consistency that Marvel has. They feel like James worked for Marvel, he should know how to do it, and it's not happening. I think that's the problem.
And also, I think no one's done it this way before ever, right? Like you have, like you have what the Arrowverse did, you had what the MCU did, you have stuff like that, but they weren't trying to make universe. They just did stuff until it turned into one. James is fundamentally at the start, forming a universe. So that's a big responsibility, and it is very hard. Like I do not take that for granted, and it's very hard. And there's going to be these rough patches, but there's too many at the start, which is worrying. Like this should be a 5-6 year in issue. This is day one issue, which is concerning. I
want to say, if I were James Gunn, if I were in his position, I would have sat down and at least did some sort of roadmap of things that I think would be the best path for the beginning of a cinematic universe. But it feels like he was forced, and Paige, you talked about this, like he was forced into those announcements of those projects before he even started really working on anything.
I can tell you what exactly they should have done.
Yeah.
Not done a reboot. Jump into the world, play with what's there, take what people like, and use the Flash movie as a reboot if you want to change and recast. If you want to,
that's what I thought they were going to do. I thought that Flash movie was going to be.
But I feel like that. Well, they are. They're still technically using that as that's where the Rebirth universe. And that's why Peacemaker's still around, and all the Suicide Squad stuff is there. Why Viola Davis is still Amanda Waller.
Right.
But they went the most difficult route. It's like, fuck, the shop's across the street. Okay, let me roll like somersaults across the road. Very confusing. It was always like either go hard reboot, and then I think everyone would like give you some slack. But I think the reason that people aren't giving him slack is because it's not a full reboot, and there are little things that are playing into it. So he's not starting from ground zero. He's starting from like the second floor.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure, he's got to get to the 58th floor, and he's going up the fire escape. But he's still starting on the second floor rather than the car park or something like that. So
he wants his cake and eating it too, and it's not working.
And I think also there's a lot of ridiculous pressure on his DC universe, because for me, and I think I said, like, everyone's expecting every project to be a 10 out of 10. Bro, we might be lucky if we get a 9 out of 10 project in this. I
don't even expect it. I know what you're saying. I don't expect them to be 10 out of 10s. I just want them.
I don't think Superman. There's too much stuff with Superman. I can tell looking at the trailer, it's not going to be a 10 out of 10 because there's going to be a lot of like stuff there that you just know you're not going to get 10 out of 10 stuff. But I still expect a really solid Superman movie where it's like my hope is that it's like an 8.5. And I think a lot of your projects are going to be around that. And I think Gunn would take that. If you slip that over, it's like, hey, your average rating for your movies, whether it's on Rotten Tomatoes or just a Metacritic thing, is around an 8 out of 10. So 80% Rotten Tomatoes, 81 Metacritic. You know what? He would take that. He would take that and give up half of his salary that he gets to get that. And I think the fans would take that. I think you'd rather get a lot of pretty good movies around an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. They get a 9 out of 10, and then a 6 out of 10 the next movie. Because that was what the DCU was sometimes. I think the DCU had more good movies than bad movies, but fuck, it was like Whiplash when you had a pretty good movie and then you got slapped across the face with, what the fuck was that? The next movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think, and like, I think comic movies is such a weird genre because I feel like most other movie genres that are kind of on their own or whatever can, like, you can have like a very universal, okay, that was a 7, that was an 8, that was a 9. Comic book movies will never be a universal number, right? Never. Like, because there are so much background and there's so much opinions going into them, where if Superman's a 10 out of 10 for me for a certain reason, it might be a 0 for Paigey for a completely other reason, and it's not going to be consistent around the board. So that's why, like, with the MCU, with the DCU, it's going to be different for every person. Like, it's going to be like a different feeling for depending on what they want or what they're going to be taking from the DC universe, which is going to be interesting.
Well, I think that's why trying to appease too many people or trying to adapt too much stuff or adapt from one thing can be dangerous. Like, but also you have to live and die by that. If that's really what you want to do for a certain take or a certain character or a certain storyline, then you have to go with that. Because as Darren was saying, like, some people are going to say, oh, that's amazing. That's a 9 out of 10. Wow, I love that. And someone's going, well, that was shit. I wasted my money. That was 4 out of 10. Like, why did I bother going to that? And even if you look at Superman, like, there's elements of like All-Star Superman and Kingdom Come. There's people that don't like those storylines, especially All-Star Superman. There's a lot of people that don't like All-Star Superman.
Right. I agree with that. Yeah.
So
100%.
Using that, I remember when that was announced, I was like, oh, that's a very, like, it's a decent idea, but very, like, could be very controversial down the line. And then there's, like, you know, even like we look at Batman Brave and the Bold. If he goes, like, and Batman's fantastical and, like, doing crazy shit, let's be honest, and fighting Clayface, there's going to be people that love the Reeves movies and love the Nolan movies and go, well, this is a bit goofy.
Yeah.
I don't really, like, how is Batman surviving that? And that's always a big thing. It's like, how can Batman survive these certain, you know, situations?
Prep time. That's how he does it.
Yeah, prep time. So,
yours truly with a $5 super chat. Again, we are 3 into 10, so thank you guys so much. Anyone else getting the feeling Andy's been trying to keep Batman, but it's slowly slipping away? All his talk recently has felt extremely desperate, in my opinion. I've had the feeling that there's been sort of a little bit of, I don't want to say James feeling maybe like Andy's not the right choice, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of, and I guess this comes down to not announcing anything officially, I guess, is that he doesn't seem to be hyping up this Batman Brave and the Bold, even though people keep saying it's his favorite character and he's so committed to it and everything. It doesn't feel that way because it seems almost like this movie is being treated as it'll just happen when it's going to happen. I think that this is an important film. Yeah. Like, if we're talking about the movies in this space, I think they have to nail this. This is, to me, this is like Superman. They have to nail this. This is a vibe movie. It has to set up the vibe for the Bat family, for Gotham, for this entire portion of the DCU.
No, well, it's that if Superman wasn't the first movie, then this would be the most important movie. Because it's going to be an entry gate to people that just they only know Batman. Like, they know Batman. Like, there's been a proper Superman, Man of Steel in 2013. But even then, like, in regards to, like, one way you knew it was a universe, I mean, never. There hasn't been one. So I also think Andy Muschietti might be getting the feeling of, like, am I just an afterthought? Is my movie an afterthought?
I mean, at the end of the day, it feels that way to me.
Point. Yeah,
it feels that way to me,
which is weird because I think, like, if you went up to anyone that's looking forward to the DCU and said what should continue being made, if one has to go, Brave and the Bold or Batman 2, I'm sorry, if they say Batman Part 2 stays, can we get a mental brain check? Is there a brain within that cranium? Because it's pretty clear that Brave and the Bold is the one that should go forward. If you are caring about the DCU, that is.
Do you think Warner Brothers is waiting for Superman to come out to see how it performs, to see how it does? Yeah.
Tick, boom, 100%. I'm thinking both in regards to maybe Matt Reeves' side, whether he wants to play into the whole, do we fold in? But also even just in regards to, like, certain aspects of that film. Like, if they have aspects in there that are very Silver Age and a bit, like, goofy, if that makes sense, but not in a crap way, but a goofy way.
You just
see people go into it and they dig it. Like, if Lex Luthor has some crazy shit, that like not any Lex Luthor in the past has done, and people like it, they'll stay with Brave and the Bold because that'll have some like stuff with Batman that we haven't used to seeing. But if people don't vibe with it and they want a more quote unquote grounded, the overused term that we love to not love, they might be thinking, okay, well maybe we do fold in the Reeves stuff.
Paigey, I will say you just blew my mind because I thought about this. This is, and I don't know if this is what you meant, but I'll give you the W on it, even if you didn't mean this. But I do realize we've talked about how the rest of the DCU probably hinges on the success of Superman in terms of how many projects they get and what kind of investments they put into that. But what if they're waiting to see what they're going to do with the Matt Reeves Batman based on the success of Superman? Like they will bring him in if Superman is successful, and that's why they're waiting on it. Maybe they're waiting to see if the movie does well, even though I think it's very clear to me the vibes are completely different from these two like worlds. But they might be waiting on that. But then if they don't say yes that it's connected, that means they can just continue the Batman franchise even if this DCU thing doesn't work out.
Yeah, and I think it's also a balance of whether, once again, like in regards to whether there's aspects where you can fold it in. Because there could be a situation where Matt Reeves wants to, but then they can't figure out a way where it makes sense. I think out of the gate doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, Robert Pattinson's Batman, who would get blown over by a northeasterly, is not fighting Clayface or Dr. Phosphorus and stuff like that. Like I think the thing that goes against Matt Reeves' thing is just that silhouette. I mean, showing that silhouette, that's not Robert Pattinson's Batman. I'm sorry, unless he fucking got on the roids, or he's put on one of those sumo suits under his Batman suit. Like, it'd be unbelievable. But then again, saying before, not that many people watch Creature Commandos. But then again, a lot of people saw that scene. That scene went viral. So there's a bit of a difference there.
I think you could have done it like at the very start. Like if they said then, hey, that's going to be our Batman, you could have made it work. I think you can, especially this being such an early Batman. I can believe that he evolves throughout his career. Yeah. But it's so clearly not their vision. That's not clearly what they want with Brave and the Bold and Teen Titans and the very clear DC universe that they've established, right? This is a deep in. Like, Batman's been doing this for what, assumingly 7 years? Like, he's been doing it a while. Clearly not Matt Reeves. So you would have to retcon already one project in everything. Like, you would have to change everything just to morph it around this idea. And
that would also require Matt Reeves to play ball with whatever your long-term plans are with this whole universe, which he doesn't want to do. No. I don't think he wants to do that, right?
And also it'd be like, well, you're not getting any more TV shows probably. So have you had any plans for doing any? No, because it's got to fold into building that universe and doing it. Like, if the Batman was what, you wouldn't have done that Penguin show if it was already by the DCU.
Yeah.
We wouldn't.
So Lance says this, y'all got to remember Matt Reeves already said he's been dealing with personal stuff, which has also delayed his film on top of the strikes and stuff. So my only issue with this is I don't think that his personal stuff should hold up the entire DCU because his Batman movie has to be delayed. That just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Fair enough that they want to delay his movie, but if that causes a domino effect that delays everybody else's movies, that's an unfair expectation for the company. It's an unfair expectation for the fans. It just doesn't make any sense financially or logistically.
Brave and the Bold should have happened first. They should have, when they announced it, Brave and the Bold comes first, let Matt Reeves take his time writing part 2. Maybe they even let him write another show kind of in between to kind of prep for whatever's next while he's waiting. And then you do Batman part 2. Yeah. Like, that's how they should have done it.
Well, I have to say, based on this enlightening conversation we've been having,
oh no,
maybe Andy Muschietti is not the best pick for the Batman Brave and the Bold.
Why do you say that?
So Andy Muschietti has come out and said some comments in a Variety interview that are quite interesting. We're going to take a look at the article just to get full context here, but because there's a lot of mistranslations going around before this article came out on what was actually said. So we all know that The Flash severely underperformed at the box office. That's kind of an understatement. I think flop is probably the correct term being applied here. But The Flash flopped at the box office because it wasn't a movie that appealed to the 4 quadrants. It failed at that, says director Andy Muschietti. I found in private conversations that a lot of people don't care about The Flash as a character. So he said this in the interview, and I want to let everybody know the 4 quadrants basically means men, women, and going outside of your age bubble up and down. So if your demographic is like 20 to 30, then you want to go outside of 30 and you want to go under 20. You want to appeal to men and women and basically entire families. They call it the 4 quadrants, but it's essentially you just want to appeal to every demographic you can possibly appeal to make your money on this. And let's take a look at the actual statement. Before we scroll down here, what are your thoughts on this? On just the general comments he's making? Because we're talking about a director who's got an upcoming project at the DCU, kind of going in on fans based on a previous movie that was made that dealt with Ezra Miller, all of that drama, and misrepresenting a lot of that based on the actual criticism of the film. Just keep that in mind, because that's essentially what we're dealing with here.
Yep. I mean, in terms of what, just like
do you think it's a good look? Like, do you think it's a good look for someone that has worked on a previous DCEU project to come into the DCU criticizing a movie that is not really that old? It's not an old film. It's only been out. It came out a couple years ago. So,
yeah, no, he's clearly making excuses. He's saying, "Oh no, this wasn't on me. This was on the studio." And like the whole Flash statement, I feel like I can understand where he's coming from, right? Where it's like, it's not Batman, it's not Superman, it's not Wonder Woman. People, the casual audience doesn't like they don't associate the Flash as much as some of these other heroes. But that's why it's your job as a director to make them care. That is the definition of your job. So make them care about your thing. And I don't blame him for what happened with the Flash, because that was a shit show, right? It was a 10-year long, however many directors and pitches and studio interference. Like, I don't blame him for what happened, but then also don't blame your audience, because that's what you're doing. He's saying, "Oh, this isn't on me. This is on them. They let it flop. This has nothing to do with me." And I don't. That's not how I probably would have went about it.
So let's read the statements here. I think it's fair to go through and just kind of read what was said. So Andy Muschietti has his own thoughts on why the $200 million tentpole was a box office stud. Released in 2023, The Flash grossed $271 million by the end of its run. It's not a small figure by any means, but considering the budget size and projected marketing costs, the DC blockbuster needed to double that figure to get out of the red. Excuse me. Muschietti said the reason The Flash couldn't recoup costs was because it failed to hit all 4 quadrants of moviegoer demographics: men over 25, men under 25, women over 25, women under 25, despite Warner Brothers' best efforts. The Flash failed amongst other reasons because it wasn't a movie that appealed to all 4 quadrants. It failed at that. Muschietti said, when you spend $200 million making a movie, you want to bring in your grandmother. You want to bring your grandmother to the theaters. Muschietti went on to say that behind closed doors, he found people don't care about the Flash as much as the other beloved DC icons like Batman or Superman. I think it's okay. So first and foremost, before we go any further, I think it's unfair to try and say that any character that isn't Batman or Superman, people don't care about. That's a really bad thing coming from a director that's getting ready to go in and start working in your new universe, because we're getting a Clayface movie. The Authority is supposed to be a movie. We're getting Supergirl. We had Creature Commandos. You want whoever's coming in to be enthusiastic about the fans that want the more niche characters, that want those more supporting characters. And I'm not saying the Flash is a supporting character, but I'm saying the way he's speaking here is that because no one cared about the Flash, the only movies we should ever spend money on are Batman and Superman. I don't think that's a fair statement. He noted that this is especially true in the women under and over 25 demographics. I found in private conversations that a lot of people just don't care about the Flash as a character, particularly the 2 female quadrants. All of that is just the wind going against the film, I've learned. Mm-hmm. And then it talks about here, the Flash was plagued with lengthy delays and off-camera issues with star Ezra Miller. Yeah, we're talking about a movie that was announced, in 2014? This is why I think there is an issue with pulling in some of the baggage from the DCEU in any regard. I mean, like writers, directors, actors, anybody that was involved with that, because this is what you're going to have. We got the Frank Grillo stuff with him talking trash about Marvel because he was in a Marvel movie. We got now the director of The Flash, who again is supposed to be directing the upcoming Batman movie, complaining that if it's not Batman, it's not important to people. I don't think this is a good tone going into the new DCU. And this is why I think again, this is why I don't, is he the best choice for the movie now at this point? I feel like this is bad. This is a bad interview.
And I also think it's like, this also wasn't an origin story, right? Like this wasn't a movie that was like, this can be your new introduction to the Flash. This was a end of the franchise, road. You were supposed to have already been attached to this character. There was currently an already, like there was a current Flash, which I think also affected it, where he's like, we don't care about the Flash. It's like, no, they don't care about your Flash, right? Like when most people thought about the Flash, I guarantee if Grant Gustin was in the movie, I think it would have made a little bit more, because people are like, oh, I do know him. I know, even if it's just on like a surface level, I've at least seen this guy as the Flash. And this is a movie that plays itself on like nostalgia and like this big event movie that I don't think a lot of people actually cared about. Like they didn't, and I feel like a lot of people felt lost. Like they didn't feel like, oh, this is an event movie that I need to attend because I haven't watched everything that led to this moment, if that makes sense.
What do you think, Paige? Any thoughts on this?
I mean, in regards to a lot of this stuff, like the quadrant stuff and everything, I mean, that's for the marketing people. Like that's the marketing people or the producers. That's their main thing. And I mean, he wasn't a producer, like heading into, the development of it at the beginning. It's interesting because I remember reading into, I don't know if it was as 2023 started, it might have been just before, because it might have been like a thing like, oh, we're looking at the 2023 releases and stuff like that. And this was Warner Brothers' big movie heading into 2023. Something changed beginning of 2023. I don't know if you're getting where I'm going, into about late February, March period. Might have involved Hawaii.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you.
And all the focus got shifted to Barbie. People forget Barbie came out about a month and a half after this. So Warner Brothers had their two big movies for the year coming out, within like a month and a half or so, 2 months of each other or whatever it was. And I remember people like reading that thing, and I was like, okay, that's interesting, because I thought Barbie was at that time, but then that was a bit far out. And I don't know how much promotion Barbie done, and Flash did all that stuff because of fandom and everything like that. But it's pretty clear, you can see where Warner Brothers shifted the attention, and they're the ones like they had all the time in the world to recast Ezra Miller, and obviously they didn't foresee that Ezra Miller was going to hashtag level up with the Hawaii stuff and all that bad press and stuff, because all that happened at the time before they filmed was that Iceland, I think it was Iceland or Denmark or wherever he was, in that bar where the whole, who does the wrestling move where they pick him up by the throat and throw him on whatever wrestling.
That's something, maybe you know what it is. I don't know.
I don't know. I've seen you do it, Eric, so I'll imitate it on your chair.
It's like the rock bottom from.
See, now you know. Apparently you didn't know, but now you know. So
no, that's the only move I remember is the rock bottom. So I don't.
What about the Stone Cold? What was it, Stone Cold?
I don't know. I don't watch wrestling, so
bullshit. But yeah, like that whole thing. So it's just interesting to see that, like, that change from like the end of 2022 into that like February, March thing where Warner Brothers went, we're pink, we're no longer red. With lightning, we're pink, we're full on pink. And then CinemaCon happened. As soon as CinemaCon happened, they invited all the influencers, like, oh, they've given up advertising this movie. And they just did like one little thing on, they did the Super Bowl, obviously, but that was in February. So that was a bit different. And then they did CinemaCon. I'm like, oh, they've stopped, they've done this. Like the plot's going to get spoiled. All the quote-unquote secrets, where there really wasn't any, but they tried to push that out there, were spoiled because they invited all these TikTok influencers who can't.
I remember that.
Hold anything in their pants. Everything was out. Like about 3 hours after that CinemaCon screening, the entire movie was spoiled on Twitter and TikTok and Reddit.
We won't have to worry about that after the 19th. After the 19th, we don't have to worry about it.
But like it was just interesting to see that. So it wasn't and I remember we talked about it. Like I was really confident in the movie doing really well because we sat there and watched the trailer. Everyone liked the trailer.
Even I was. Yeah. I was like, this might actually be a solid movie. Yeah.
That first trailer that came out, everyone was like, wow, this looks fucking hectic. And everyone was super stoked for it. The only big asterisk on it was Ezra Miller. Everything else looked really cool. Michael Keaton looked cool. The little bits of Supergirl you saw there. But I think we all knew getting closer and closer Ezra Miller stuff became too much.
Yeah.
Too much. And I saw Lance and Chad saying a shit movie. I'm still yet to I still disagree with anyone that says it's a shit movie. I still think it's a really good movie, but it's 100. I understand when people they don't like it because of Ezra Miller. I can 100%. It's really hard to it's the biggest elephant ever in the smallest room ever. It's hard to avoid.
So I want to talk about go ahead, Sharon. Sorry.
It should also be said that June was a big month for movies. Obviously you had Flash, you had Across the
Flash came out June, or was it May?
It was June. Yeah, it was June.
It was the beginning of June.
Okay, beginning of June. Okay.
So that whole month we had Spider-Man, we had Indiana Jones, we had No Hard Feelings, we had Transformers, we had Strays. Every couple weeks there was the new Pixar movie that had come out that year. There was so much stuff that
July was Barbie and Oppenheimer and
right.
Yeah.
It was just too much. 2023 was that year of too much stuff, and I'm afraid we're stepping into another one. I think 2025, 2026 is another one of those.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think the director is looking at the actual reasons why. It seems to me like he's completely oblivious to that, and that's a problem because you're the director. You're supposed to be the person that knows why your movie didn't do well.
Yeah, and we see with a lot of stuff that because if you're the director and your movie makes $1 billion, you're going to take credit for it. You're going to take credit for it. I mean, even Sean Levy took goddamn credit for Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, a bundle of fucking paper that's got poo on it could have directed Deadpool and Wolverine. It would have been still made $1 billion. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter too much there. But if you'd be in a position where you would take the credit for making $1 billion, you got to take the fall or some credit for not doing well at the same time.
Yeah.
Even if it's not specifically a fault. I think Andy Muschietti made a really good movie.
Okay.
With the Flash, I really enjoyed it.
According to Andy and WB, go ahead. Sorry, Paige, you finished your
story. No, I was just going to say I think he made a really good movie. But at the end of the day, he wasn't promoted incredibly well, and there were outside circumstances which he could have intervened in. He was the director when Ezra did that stuff. He could have gone, I can't do that. We got to recast. We got time. COVID happened. We had heaps of time. That a year essentially to recast. And you know what? I don't think there would have been too much of a protest outside of Snyder fans, and even then, loony Snyder fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a weird thing because I think Ezra Miller's good in the movie as well, which is it's like a double. It's that's the.
We get it. You're an Ezra fan. We got it.
Yeah, Ezra Miller's stan. That's the hardest thing. Ezra's good in the movie, but it's also I want to get into these. I want to get into these stats. We've talked on and on about. I think these stats are stupid, by the way, as well. They're really. Well, I want to point. I don't
think it's. Look, I don't think the numbers are 1 for 1, but I don't think it's a bad comparison. I don't think it's a bad, and I'll tell you why here in a second. So this is according to Andy Warner Brothers, the property of the Flash is not interested in women, females, and is therefore unable to pull off 2 of the 4 quadrants necessary to make a hit film. We're going back and looking at some of the data from the CW directly to contest this claim. Now I'm going to say I don't think there's a 1 for 1 comparison because the TV shows and the market for TV shows is going to skew different from necessarily from the market of a film. I think it's different. But it says here there was a 38.8% of the Flash viewership is comprised of female viewers. Now the reason why is because, and we've talked about this before, that was part of the whole soap opera element of what the kind of shows that the CW was making. And so they understood that. So with that being said, I don't think we would have seen 38.8% of women necessarily going to see the Flash movie because there was 38.8% of women watching the Flash TV show. I don't think that's a good comparison. But I will say, assuming that women don't like the Flash with literally no numbers to back that up is dumb. I think that's dumb. I think it's dumb to say that women don't like the Flash movie with no study on it. You didn't go around and ask women if they liked it. You didn't poll people in the movie theater to ask them that question. It's just a dumb thing where they looked at how the movie did in the theaters and they said, oh, well, the women didn't come out for the movie. That doesn't mean that women aren't interested. Maybe they just don't like Ezra Miller.
Right.
I don't know. Is Ezra Miller attractive to the female brain?
What I'm saying is we don't know. We don't understand
that's my query.
The correlation of women don't like the Flash as a character because they didn't come to the movie. I think that is a dumb correlation.
I think it's a very just simple thing in regards to you can just blame the stats and everything like that. I was really surprised when I saw Andy Muschietti say that because you can just there's definitely other things you could point to, as we just brought up before.
I mean, there's a lot of them, but I mean, like, this is what I mean. Like, he's not engaged with the fans, so this makes me concerned about the Batman movie.
Right.
I know he did a good Batman in this film. I won't argue that his stuff with Batman wasn't solid. It was, but it seems to me like there is a disconnect between him and what the community is saying, and he doesn't have to be locked in, as Paige would say. He doesn't have to be locked in to the community.
He's geeked out.
But he could be geeked out in the community. I just think that he should be paying more attention to what the community is saying, not necessarily screaming at him like Snyder fans and stuff. But if you're going to be directing a movie about Batman, which has arguably one of the largest sub communities in DC in terms of like people that love DC comics, there are Batman fans that literally only like Batman. They don't watch any of the other shit, or they do, but they're basically Batman fans, right? That's all they really care about. They're the ones that you should be looking at and going, hey, what is it that these guys want from me? Not going, my Flash movie failed because we didn't have enough women in the movie theaters. Like, that just doesn't, that seems so reductive to me.
I think with him saying also about like behind, like he said, like behind closed doors, like people don't care about the Flash. He's clearly being told that. I highly doubt any shit he's sitting there going, let me look up this survey and stuff like that, or these stats. Right. So obviously someone at Warner Brothers, and it might have been someone from Warner Brothers who saw the writing on the wall and knew that the movie probably wasn't going to be successful. Like they could just
but the thing about that, Paige, the crazy thing about that, crazy again with the C, not with the W, with C-R.
No, what about with the K?
No, we're not doing it that way either. It's not Crazy Town. The thing about that is we want a Flash in the DCU. They're talked about the possibility of Wally being the Flash, right? We had a discussion about that, right? You have Andy Muschietti, who may eventually have to write a movie with the Flash, whatever the DCU Flash is in it, and he's came out and said that Warner Brothers doesn't like the Flash because not enough people like the Flash. So he's a character they're not supporting. Like saying that alone is so fucking stupid.
I still, to this day, think Warner Brothers was so protective of the Flash in regards to like this version of the Flash, like that they didn't allow certain things that Andy Muschietti wanted to put in. Like I still to this day believe Grant Gustin was in Andy Muschietti's plans to put in the movie, and it got changed.
Maybe
because Warner Brothers didn't want Grant Gustin overshadowing Ezra Miller showing up. And
this whole
I still to this day believe that. I don't think anyone will be able to convince me otherwise. But I think there are a lot of things.
But regardless of what people extrapolate from this interview, he did not need to talk about any of this.
No.
Yeah, I'm surprised because he obviously was asked it, so he can't just go, well, I'm not going to talk about it. But I'm surprised.
But in detail, and what he said.
Yeah, it's going into details like that where you are singling out.
He could have been like, it's unfortunate that the movie underperformed, right? The movie didn't perform well. We understand that, but we learned some stuff from that, and we're going to bring that positive energy into the DCU. Everything we learned from that movie that did not work, we're going to turn that around and we're going to bring it to the DCU. He didn't have to say people don't like the Flash. Women didn't come out to support the movie. These are the reasons why a $200 million movie has to be Batman or Superman. Like, he didn't need to say any of that.
Yeah,
that was
he should have said
pointless shit.
He should have said, "We're going to lock in. We're going to get turned up.
We're going to geek out.
And we're going to get bold in Batman Brave and the Bold coming in 2035 when finally Matt Reeves releases his movie."
Yeah.
1 year before.
I will say, like, I bet that there is, not defending these statements because I think they're very weird statements, but I do bet there's probably a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of anger there. You get so attached to your art. You spent so many years of your life trying to make this thing out. It came out and it just got shit on everywhere, and that hurts. That probably hurts.
And it would fucking suck as well. Like he was, and he would have been stoked because this is like he did the It movies and stuff, but this was like the big thing where like he could really craft it and stuff. And I know there's a whole thing about development delays and stuff like that, but like really what this movie was different than what some of the other earlier scripts were, might I say. But yeah, it fucking sucked.
Paige, Anthony says, my issue with Andy is his style and overuse of CGI, not whether he's quote unquote locked in the fan base. So
was that an intentional use of the term locked in, Anthony?
I don't know.
Coincidental.
I have no idea.
I think is that like with the CGI and stuff, like I pointed out, like it does. There's elements there where you can tell it's a creative choice. Like I still think with the Chrono Ball thing and stuff, it's clearly a creative choice because I mean, you could tell from looking at it that there was things they actually filmed that they turned into CGI, or like that. It looked like claymation. It was like weird, but interesting at the same time. But once again, what have we always said when we talked about it in detail, like the Flash movie and stuff, and like critiquing and stuff? I hate that that's the only thing people talk about.
What is the CGI? Yeah.
Yeah, like I think the story of the movie is good. I think the acting of the movie is good. I know it's distracting and stuff, especially in the third act, but I think the movie is...
Bro, like Anthony, if you go into a job interview and they ask you what are your skills and you're like, I'm good at spanking asses and putting water on cold things. Like, he's asked a question. You can criticize him on his response to the question.
Well, what's
just
the
like
job
you can
that what job is where that comes up into like a...
No, I'm saying like those kinds. Well, those responses wouldn't be appropriate for most jobs. What I'm saying is, if somebody calls you in, I mean, there's a few jobs, maybe cold water or slapping acid. But if you're called in and you're asked a question and you give a dumb fucking response, you can be criticized on that. We do it every single day. People don't need to get on the front lines for Andy Muschietti here. I see some people in the comments trying to like green light for him and go out and say, oh, it was cool, whatever. It's not. He gave bad answers, you guys. And regardless of whether you take them to the extreme or you take them at exactly what he said, they're not good answers to the questions. He could have said other things. By the way, I've got a pizza that just arrived, so I'm going to go grab that pizza. And
no fucking shock.
Yeah, we're going to do that here on screen. So you guys talk about these suits, and I'll be right back.
Oh, I don't want to talk about these suits. I don't like these suits.
I wish just from the back you could see Ezra's ass. Then that could be a talking point.
Which, I mean, I do think it sucks that this is kind of like Ben Affleck's last like appearance as Batman, because like him himself is good, but like I did not like that set piece at all.
I'll tell you what I would have wanted to see is the scenes not only that he filmed but Michael Keaton filmed that both were deleted and never showed up in Aquaman, the second Aquaman. I would have wanted to see like the context of those scenes. Apparently that meant to be at the end or something like that.
Right.
But I really wouldn't have minded seeing that. I'll tell you what though, I will be disappointed if we go straight to Wally as the Flash in the DCU. I have a feeling they're going to do it, especially if we're fucking waiting until 2029 to get a Batman movie. Otherwise, I mean, as I said before, Gunn might be in a wheelchair by the point we get to like Batman Brave and the Bold or the Flash movie.
Yeah. I would love both. I would love when we can get both Barry and Wally. Like Barry at the end of his run and then Wally at the start, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Or like Wally's been Kid Flash for like a few years and is like maybe entering his 20s. Like, hold on, I can't keep wearing this yellow suit.
Right.
Too much like Reverse Flash.
Okay, so I want to get back to what I was saying on the suit. I know you guys didn't want to talk about him, but I did have some comments.
We were talking about like very deep gender politics and everything. Yeah.
I had my issues with the Flash suit. I've never liked the cowl on this suit. Like I like
the rest of the suit, especially when it lights up, but the cowl is like
the worst part.
Honestly. Oh, it looks like a xenomorph. Yeah. Weird, yeah.
This Batman suit is unforgivable. That is an awful suit, especially when you see it.
When it's in like action and he's moving and stuff like that, it's almost like you just see like the color scheme of it. It looks good, but when it's like this, like I didn't even realize until like the second watch that it sort of has this weird. I don't even know what it is. Like it's like
I mean, it's almost like a cut off. Like it's a mid
because he's wearing like a proper suit under there. It's just like it's like bullet, like almost like a bulletproof sort of thing.
So I ordered from a local chain here called Chanello's Pizza. Let's take
Nothing
a look.
Beats a pizza.
Let's take a look at this pizza. Oh, look
I'll take a piece, please.
That is a great. It's even got like a little dip in it and everything. So,
you know what you should do to really, you know what you should do to really improve the delivery experience, Eric, is that you should take it, put the cover back on, and sit on it because it really make it feel like it's been properly delivered.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. All right. So, all right. Where's it at here? Oh, wait. Hold on. Why did it stop sharing? My screen stopped sharing. Okay. Let's talk about some movie numbers. Let's talk about some movie numbers here while I go through this. By the way, you guys, let's see where we're at on the poll. We are 3 out of 10 on the super chats. We still have an hour and a half left. And it looks like the winner on the poll, if we reach our goal, is going to be top 5 favorite DC films. So if you guys want to see that as a bonus topic on the stream on Saturday, we need to get 7 more.
I was going to say quickly, while we're in a bit of an intermission, do you want to give my pages picks, my 3 quick reviews of the week from things I watched?
Wait, is it bad or is it like?
What do you mean? Is it bad? It's just reviews.
Like, is this a troll or is it real?
No, it's 2 movies and a TV show.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll go from lowest to highest, but they're all good. They're all very good recommendations. Everyone get your notepads and pens out. Or a crayon if you're Eric. First is the TV show I watched. It's only got 2 episodes out so far. I thought the entire thing was out. And I was like, I got into it, and then the second episode ended and it said no more episodes. I'm like, fuck. I jumped into the show too early. But have you seen that show, The Pit, that's been advertised? It's made by the guy that made ER and stuff like that. It's really good. It's on HBO Max or Max. It's really, if you haven't watched it, it's set in like Pittsburgh in a hospital, but it's not like procedural. It's set every episode, it's in real time. So every episode is 1 hour. It's almost like 24 with Kiefer Sutherland. It's really good though. It's like fully intense and stuff. I was watching it, I was getting like, fuck, I'm getting stressed out. I feel like I'm working in this hospital. It's like full on. It's really good. It's only got 2 episodes out so far though. I sort of don't want to watch it until the entire season's out, but it was really good. The second thing I watched is the movie. It came out a while ago, but it's called Caddo Lake. Did anyone watch that movie? It's got Dylan O'Brien in it. And I can't remember. It's one of the best movies I've watched the past year. I wish I'd watched it earlier, but it's an HBO Max movie. I don't know how it didn't go to the theaters. It's so good. I can't say too much about it but M. Night Shyamalan produced it.
Who directed it? Is it a good director or no?
It's 2 people that directed the episode that Servant show on Apple TV that Shyamalan produces as well. So if you watch that show, but yeah, Caddo Lake is super good, but I can't talk about it because it's got the best twist. It's got one of the best twists.
What is it on again? Is it on Apple TV?
It's on Max. It's an HBO Max streaming movie, but it should have gone to theaters. It was a really good movie. But it's got like a really good twist in it. You can feel the twist building up, but I was like, I don't think I'm right here. And I was like half right. I picked one thing straight, like about 10 minutes, not about 10 minutes in, but about 20 minutes. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure this character is this thing, but it's really good. And it's actually really satisfying. It doesn't fall off like a lot of M. Night Shyamalan things. But Caddo Lake, Caddo Lake, really good. And the final thing I went to the movies and I watched Better Man.
Oh,
the monkey,
how was it?
Really good. I don't know how
it's flopping in the US right now. So
I'm surprised because Robbie Williams just is known there. But the thing is, it's like I don't know how they're going to do a biopic musical one that's better than that because it's pretty much like changed it in regards to how they do it. But I'll tell you what, I know Darren will like as a Disney fan, but that Tangle movie is probably going to be pretty good because he pretty much did the same thing he did in The Greatest Showman, but like improved on it. But it was really good. Like I know Robbie Williams' music because it's just played here in Australia and here on the radio. My mum played it and stuff like that. But
he's not big in the United States. His music never really.
Well, he came at the wrong time. If he came in like 10 years later, he would have been popular in the United States. He came up in the period when like it was like that turn of the century and stuff like that. And that type of music, he would have been like what Ed Sheeran is. Like how Ed Sheeran, even then Ed Sheeran's not as big in like the States as he is in other countries. Like for example, like Dua Lipa. Like I was like I just assumed Dua Lipa was massive in America. She's not. She's like a medium level artist, but she's massive everywhere else. She's just like somewhat known in the US. But yeah, that Robbie Williams Better Man movie is super good.
I wouldn't have ordered pizza if I wouldn't have seen Darren eating. I was like, I saw him eating, and I was like, I'm ordering pizza. So,
have you watched anything in the past week, Eric and/or Darren? I say and/or because you might have watched it together with the pizza.
I mean, I've been doing Severance for the first time, and that show is like fantastic. It is.
Oh, the Apple TV show. I want to start that as well because season 2 comes out, and I've heard really good things about it.
Oh yeah.
Is it season 2 the final season? Didn't they say it was it? Or...
No, they're working on season 3 already.
Okay.
Yeah, like the first season came back. I think it came out back in like 2022. So I was waiting for the new season to come out to catch up, and like just episode 1 alone, you're like, this is one of the best pilots I've ever seen for a show. Like it hooks you immediately, which is really cool.
I'm watching The Traitors. I don't know if you guys have seen that show before. Traitors.
The Traitors. What trades like a backstabber traitor?
Yeah, it's a show where they have a bunch of people living in a house together, and it's like a murder mystery reality TV show. It's got like 3 seasons in the US. I'm watching season 1.
So it's like Among Us, but real life.
Yes, but like not not like it in space or wherever Among Us takes place. I haven't played it in a long time, but it's like
Sounds
a
like
murder
you
mystery house. It's really just like Clue, if you know what that is.
Or Cluedo.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about this. We got a few things here to look at. Wicked near 700 million globally. So I would say this is a pretty big success story for this movie. I've already seen it like twice now. I don't know if anybody else has watched it multiple times or not, but I thought it was really good. I'm not a big fan of musicals. We talked about this with like the Supergirl episode and The Flash and all that. Not a big fan of musicals. But I enjoyed this. I thought it was really good. And I really like Ariana and Cynthia together. I think they were really good in the film. I will not be surprised if Ariana gets more acting roles after.
Well, that was one thing I was wondering. I was like, it's two actresses, which I'm like, but I don't know if they're necessarily ridiculously, like, especially Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what do you cast her in after this?
I wonder, because she's been campaigning for the live-action Hercules for years.
Yeah.
And I feel like this could
finally... I'm assuming not as Hercules.
No, as... Yeah, absolutely. They're going to gender swap.
As Meg, yeah. Which, I mean, I haven't been like, oh, I need that as Meg, because I don't really see it. But I feel like this is going to get her that push. To be like...
especially in like musical aspect and stuff. I think that probably might be where she goes. Like, just does musicals. Even if she does like Broadway or something like that, but just sort of diving into that type of thing, because I just don't know if you cast her in too much other stuff. Yeah, I do agree. Defunct. She was actually good in Scream Queens, but she was like sort of playing an up version of herself.
Yeah. I feel like everything prior to this was good, but this is like this is one of those roles that like launches you in a different direction.
Yeah,
like I can see her being in more musical, especially Disney stuff, or just like. I think she's set up now to be like Kristen Chenoweth or something like that, where she's in a lot of these roles where singing is obviously going to be a big part of it. And I know she was kind of a child star.
Because in like other bits, it's just like you just get work. Like Brendan Fraser, as soon as he won that Oscar, started getting more like work that people are watching. He was working, but just people weren't watching it. And then Ke Kwan, like he just gets work now. It's not maybe as the main character a lot of the time, but he's like a supporting role. And like he gets work compared to like no work, and that's what the Oscar brings you. So, well, she's not going to win an Oscar, I don't think, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we talked about this on Thursday. I don't necessarily see her as Storm, but I don't think people should be mad that she wants to play. Like,
I mean, she wants
to play Storm. Right? It's such a weird thing to be mad about. She wants to play Storm, so let's get mad at her because she wants to play Storm. I mean, it's just such a ridiculous manufactured outrage. Like, why would you be mad at an actor wanting to play a role? You can say I don't see them in that role, but that doesn't mean that they should have hate directed at them because they're campaigning for it. It's literally their job to go out and try to get roles in movies.
Yeah, you got to be like an audition is like if you can make yourself stand out, then you get a leg up. And saying publicly while your movie is one of the biggest movies in the world to say you want to play this character, I mean, it's probably not a bad thing to say, regardless of whether she fits the character perfectly or not. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's all marketing and promotion stuff.
Zaya, this is probably the dumbest question. Like, people ask some dumb stuff, and I'm not saying this is reflective of you, but she's in a movie that is one of the biggest movies out right now, and they're casting mutants for the new Marvel movies. So it is a story because she, in the biggest movie that she's been in, says that she wants to play a character in one of the biggest franchises in the world. That's why it's a story. It was probably in an interview when she said it. I don't even know where she said it at, but it was most likely in an interview. That's literally everything we talk about is quotes from actors saying stuff when it comes to these kinds of things. So,
to be honest, I think I saw the interview, and I'm pretty sure she was high on cocaine when everyone was saying it because her eyes were like bugging out and stuff, and she was like overly. But to be honest, I wouldn't blame her if she did cocaine and stuff like that because she's clearly overworked at the moment with all this press shit. So, but like her eyes look like they're about to pop out of her head. I'm pretty sure that was because she mentioned Storm, but I don't know if it was where everyone got the quote from. It might have been another interview that people laughed.
I mean, that's, I think, like a greater problem with like the interview culture where it's like all of it is asking about other stuff, other franchises, other movies. It's like, no, we're here to talk about this movie. Right now, I don't want to, I'm not in the MCU.
But the other projects don't mind. They don't mind when they get talked about in interviews because they like the free press for it. Because Storm got free press. Marvel got free press because she answered a question during an interview on Wicked, most likely.
I remember the like Ben Affleck thing for Air, and like you could tell he was so annoyed. There was like, "Are you coming back for Batman?" I was like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm here to talk about Air, the movie I'm in
I
right
agree.
now. I don't give a shit. Like, ask me about that."
So it says here 2 Disney tentpoles, Mufasa and Moana 2. By the way, I want to say people keep saying that Disney is struggling. I don't see how that happens when stuff like this comes out because I don't see struggle here.
No.
This doesn't look like struggle to me. Mufasa's at 540 million, so it's officially gone past that mark where it would have been like, is it profitable? Is it not profitable?
It's profitable.
After 4 weeks. And Moana 2 is going to swim past 1 billion.
Well, I'm going to ask you, Eric, would you rather, this really has nothing to do with this, but would you rather be strapped
Oh my God,
to,
here we
like,
go.
strapped
I don't even
to
know
like,
how you get. How do we even get to this?
would you rather be strapped to like a plane falling out of the sky into like a pool of lava, or sit down and watch Sonic the Hedgehog 3 back to back in cinemas with a full crowd of Sonic fans?
Well, we're going to be talking about Sonic in a second, so I feel like that's the correct answer, right? Like to say Sonic, because we're going
I think you say jump in, like be strapped to the plane. When I said strapped, where did you think the thing was going? By the way, I just want to get into the.
I just wanted to know how the car arrived at that destination. How did the scooter get there? Like, how did the Tesla vehicle get to the charging unit? Like, that's what I.
Well, didn't the guy set up a bomb and then he wasn't dead? Like, what an idiot!
I don't even know how to answer that. So yours truly says this is the second animated movie from Disney to pass the past year to cross 1 billion.
What was the other one?
Disney, but everyone, the people on YouTube are telling me that Disney is dead. Disney is going under. It's the worst year ever. Look, I'm not a Disney stan. I don't care about all these movies, but I think it's weird that that's the narrative when they're making so much money off of these movies.
Yeah.
Moana 2, which I know there's some sort of like, I think I saw it today, unless it's like fake news. Someone is saying they stole the story from like a fanfic or something like that. I don't know. I have no clue, but they said they were like Disney saw the fanfic story and now they're going to take them to court. Good luck.
Yeah, but
with
what in that one wasn't it like some strapping going on or something in that fanfic? Wasn't it like some strap?
You must have seen a meme or something with straps, and that's why you all of a sudden are just talking.
No, I think it's because of that pizza. Because I saw the cheese and it's like straps.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you finished that pizza already?
No.
What do you mean no?
You've seen me eating like 3 pieces. Like
yeah, but I don't know how
12
fast.
slice
Like,
pizza.
12 slices? Is that
I don't know. I didn't count it. By the way, it reminds me of those people that do those fake videos where they like pretend they're going to eat the whole pizza. Have you seen it? And it's like edited,
they
so
spit
they
it
take
out.
like 2 bites and they just spit it. Yeah, they spit out like half of it or something. I don't know.
Is that what you've been doing, or are you actually
burning question page? I'm curious what your answer is this too. Eric, have you seen Tyler Perry's new movie, a $2 super chat from Cameron? I haven't seen it, but I'm sure Pagey has, right?
I don't think I've seen a Tyler Perry movie in my life. Tyler Perry might be the American Robbie Williams. I don't think his movies exit the country of the United States.
What is the new one? Is there a new one?
I just know he does the Medea stuff, but
He does, but I don't keep up with him, so I don't even know if
I've always is Medea just a rip off of Big Mama's House?
Maybe. Let's see. The 6888. It's okay. Yeah. Okay, I know what this is. I didn't realize this was a Tyler Perry movie. It's on Netflix. It's a war drama, an all-black, all-female battalion. Yeah. Apparently, it's causing like controversy. I didn't know it was a Tyler Perry movie.
Is he in it? Like he directed it, or is
no?
He
it's just his production company, I believe.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. When you say Tyler Perry movie, I think like Medea or some comedy. I didn't think that it was like a actual drama.
Medea
I've seen a lot of people being mad about that because it shows black women in war, and they're like, ah, and it's like history just makes them mad.
What's the premise of it?
I'll pull up.
Just like their perspective of like what they were doing.
I think it's just the story of their battalion, if I remember this correctly.
What assumes
6888 is a 2024 American war drama written and directed by Tyler Perry on the 6,888th Central Postal Directing Battalion, an all-black, all-female battalion in World War II. West Virginia. I don't want to read all the plot. That's
Oprah.
I don't want to read a lot of that. Look at that. Look at this. I'm not reading all that.
Well, don't spoil the movie as well. If someone
Yeah, I'm
wanna
not.
watch.
I think it's just a story about like.
Oh, there you
about-
go. Hold on. Go back to it, Eric.
What?
Read the first line of the plot.
What about it?
It's where you're from.
From West Virginia. 688 was a predominantly black battalion of U.S. Women's Army Corps that managed postal service. So it's about postal deliveries in the war. Like, why would that make them mad? Because it's got black women in it.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe one of them was the people that didn't get a letter or something.
Maybe they didn't get their mail right. Maybe they're great.
I've been waiting for this letter since World War II.
Yeah, that's what it is.
What was in it? I have no fucking clue, but I've been waiting for it.
So, Paigey, it looks like we're going to talk about Sonic 3. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 has now passed Into the Spider-Verse at the domestic box office. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. Makes me wonder, like, what would be worse, a cinema full of Sonic fans or a cinema full of Twitter Spider-Man fans?
I can assure you, without even seeing the movie, that it's not better than Into the Spider-Verse.
No, but you got to remember, Into the Spider-Verse, like knowing, like, very well-known, like, didn't perform that well at the box office. At least compared, like, you look at, like, didn't Across the Spider-Verse, like, double its box office or something like that?
I think it's one of those movies that does, like, the same internationally as it does, or even more internationally than it does domestically.
Yeah, like, it was, like, a lot of people found Into the Spider-Verse through Netflix and stuff like that. Like, I think primarily, like, through the pandemic. I really got into it there, so, yeah.
It also just passed Wild Robot as well.
That's so sad because Wild Robot is amazing.
Which, I mean, someone made I think it was like a quote tweet to this, where it's like,
Eric's used to quote quaves as well. He sees it.
I'm really tired. I'm sorry, but that was just like, well, this is why they made a Sonic movies live action, and I'm like, unfortunately, you're right, because live action, unfortunately, still makes more than animation, and it kind of, I don't want to be that guy because I'm so glad people are enjoying Sonic 3. That's amazing. But there's also like both those movies are like, in my opinion, 10 times better than Sonic 3. Like it's like that's a little disappointing. It's not that I'm mad that Sonic 3 is making money. I'm mad that Spider-Verse and Wild Robot didn't do better because I think they deserve way better than what they got.
So Anthony says, yeah, but does it Into the Spider-Verse have Jim Carrey flossing? I guess that's the determining factor.
Oh yeah.
I just saw a thing where he's like humping his granddad or something, whoever that character's meant to be. Like, that's what I saw. It's like some sort of like weird humping.
That's the shit that kind of pisses me off though, because it's like the deep emotional core of the movie, and then it will cut to Jim Carrey slapping his own ass, and it's like, good gosh.
Sega has filed a new trademark for Echo the Dolphin.
Who the fuck is Echo the Dolphin?
I didn't want to say it, but I don't know who the hell is that.
It's an old video game, but people are thinking that it might be a movie. They're going to try and do a movie or whatever based on this. I'm like, Sega doesn't make movies, so it's obviously another game that's coming out. But you guys have ever played Echo the Dolphin? I
wasn't born 25 years ago. So.
No, I know, but I mean, like, it's one of those games that like people
sometimes
go back.
Why did they say? Wait, was there two? Was there more than one Echo the Dolphin game?
Yeah.
What is the plot?
Yeah.
It's about a dolphin fighting back against environmental injustice.
Well, there's a shark behind it, so I assume it's fighting shark.
It's like, hold on.
That looks. All due respect, that looks very boring.
You know what they should bring back? Flipper. Where's Flipper? What about Free Willy? Why don't we get Free Willy?
Wow, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 different Echo the Dolphin games. Five actually.
Would you watch a Free Willy reboot?
I don't know. Would you?
Didn't they do a couple? There's like 3 or 4 of them, I think.
No, well, they did like another thing, but I don't know. What about? I don't know. Would you watch Free Willy or Flipper? I don't know. I'd probably get into Flipper maybe. I might do something interesting there.
So you're saying, Darren, that this is a pass for you?
What, as like
Wait, hold on. Why the fuck does this have 10K likes? I just realized that
it's a beloved game. Look at this picture.
I mean, if it's a movie, if it's a good movie, yes. I don't know. I don't have any horse in the race though.
Do you mean dolphin? Can you scroll down? Just see like some of the early replies. Don't go too deep. I just want to see if anyone's like pretending to glaze Echo the Dolphin.
Why don't you read some of these out, Paigey? Echo was one of the most difficult games back in the Genesis days. Okay. It seems like people love it, Paigey.
How did this tweet have 10K likes?
Look.
Yeah, but look at that fucking profile picture. It's a stupid white Sonic.
So.
Glaze.
I'm being very careful about how I'm scrolling here.
Yeah, you might get like,
look. I can already see that there's something there that we probably should not show on YouTube. So we're not going to go any further. All right. Let's talk about this for a moment. Is anybody still watching Skeleton Crew?
I love
we
it.
talked about Paigey.
It's I think it's one of my favorite Star Wars things that they've ever put out.
I would agree with that.
I'm loving it.
Oh, Eric loves that quote. I'm loving it.
So here's the issue I have with this. So the Skeleton Crew earned 382 million minutes viewed during its 2-episode premiere, making it the lowest viewership for any Star Wars show. For comparison, The Acolyte earned 488 million minutes viewed. So taking all into account, we talked about this a little bit on Thursday. People are saying that they think Skeleton Crew is better than The Acolyte in consistent quality, and I would agree with that. I think it is better consistently. It's not perfect. There are issues with the show, but it's one of those things where, am I having fun each week? Yes. Or is my fun outweighing my dislike of certain things? Yes. So it goes beyond that. With The Acolyte, there's at least 2 episodes that I think I would skip if I watched it back. I just didn't enjoy them.
Well, I think one important thing here is that the Skeleton Crew is shorter episodes. The Acolyte premiere has to be much. Oh, so it's just. But how many are they comparing the first 2 episodes of Acolyte and the first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew here? But the Acolyte would be longer minutes. So if you watch 2 episodes, so what's the actual view count?
But so you're getting to this is the part of the argument that I'm making here. It seems like a lot of places are going out of their way to try and make a good show look bad because Star Wars being bad is what gets clicks on the internet.
Right.
Because if you truly wanted better Star Wars, you could go, hey, Acolyte wasn't great for us, but Skeleton Crew is much better. So regardless of the numbers, it's a better show. More people are enjoying it. But they're not doing that. I'm seeing a lot of this sort of cherry picking, negatives about Skeleton Crew to make it look bad.
Right. Yeah, and like I've had my concern, like again, I'm adoring the show. I think it's one of my favorite things they've ever put out. But my big concern is that I think they desperately are going to need a season 2. They cannot wrap it all in one episode next week. There's so much they need to explore. Tomorrow, yeah. It like it ends now, basically. So I've been very concerned about if it's going to get that second season. I think the one thing that I think goes for it is, one, publicity has been better for the show than it has for The Acolyte. It's also a cheaper show, right?
Yeah.
Skeleton Crew does a lot more with like practical effects. It's a lot smaller scale.
Not a lot of lightsabers, not a lot of force, not a lot of fight combat stuff or whatever. Right. It's
right.
And
also, they don't have a lot of Star Wars shows right now. Like they're going to either have to announce more or get some of these new seasons. So they might just be like, you know what? It's got at least has somewhat of an audience. At least give this a second season where we come up with some new stuff.
So let me tell you what I think is going on here, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I think what we're seeing in the lower viewership numbers for Skeleton Crew, if that's what we're talking about, just go with that specifically. They're getting lower viewer numbers, whatever, is because Disney and Star Wars told the viewers, we don't care if you love something, we're going to cancel it anyway, when they did that with The Acolyte. And so a lot of people were like, why should I start supporting and watching a new show if they're just going to cancel it right after the finale airs? Because that's what they did with The Acolyte. Oh, Darren popped out of here. So I think personally, this is a result of them, because Paige, we talked about this. They quickly canceled Acolyte. It wasn't even a month. It was like
a week or 2 after or something.
Yeah. If you're telling people, oh, he's returned. if you're telling people, welcome back. If you're telling people that love these properties that you're just going to cancel something they love less than a month after the finale airs, they might go, well, good, I get it. We're not coming back for the next thing.
Yeah.
And so Skeleton Crew is suffering because a lot of people are probably going, we thought Disney was better than these other places. We didn't think Disney was Netflix. We didn't think Disney was Amazon Prime. We didn't think they were HBO. We thought that they were going to keep and support all these things we love. They took Willow down. That's gone now. You can't watch that on Disney Plus. And then they canceled Acolyte less than a month after the finale aired. So a lot of people are probably like thinking, what's the point in watching these shows if you're going to tease us for a second season that we have to wait 2-3 years for, and then you cancel it?
Yeah, I'm very casual Star Wars. Like, I like it on a very surface level. And I think Acolyte and Skeleton Crew were the only things that I like reviewed. So I feel like I have a little bit of a now nostalgic for them. And I'm kind of at a spot where it's like, if this show gets canceled as well, I don't know if I want to like continue with Star Wars because I'm not that invested anyway. And if you're going to be like, okay, everything that we introduced, we're just going to get rid of a couple months later, like, why should I care? Why should I be invested in this universe? And I think they're in a very scary situation because I think, like these projects or not, Acolyte and Skeleton Crew have tried new things. They've introduced new characters. They've put them in new eras. It's very experimental, and I think for the most part it's done well. And I think what we've been telling them, what we've been telling Star Wars, is we don't care about new ideas. Where's Luke Skywalker? Where's Anakin? Where's Darth Vader?
Well,
that's
I would argue that bringing Luke back did that. If they wouldn't have put him in any of the shows, we wouldn't be in the position we're in right now. Darth Zen. So I would say, other than being streaming services, Netflix and Disney Plus are two completely different models, because Netflix, for the most part, dumps everything at one time, with the exception of a handful of shows. Disney, with the exception of a handful of shows, does week-to-week releases. And they also have their hands on bigger IPs that are produced in-house, whereas Netflix gets stuff that isn't necessarily produced by Netflix. So there's a lot of differences in the way their business model goes. So I don't think there's a comparison like Netflix canceling something, because Netflix has 10 million things on streaming at any given time. Disney has like 8 things, and they're not even streaming at the same time. You get 8 or 9 new things a year from Disney Plus. And if you cancel one of those when people have been paying for your service through all of these downtimes when you don't have something they're interested in, because keep in mind, after Star Wars is over, they could do a Pixar show, and guess what? I may not give a fuck about Pixar. So then I'm holding onto my Disney Plus subscription through that series, waiting for you to come back and bring a Star Wars show, or waiting for you to come back and bring a Marvel show. With Netflix, that is not the case. Netflix almost always has something that you could watch in that genre that you can click on at any given time. That's not the case with Disney Plus.
And
you look at HBO Max, for example. I mean, like, they cancel everything.
Yeah,
they get angry if they can't cancel something.
I don't watch anything on HBO Max anymore. I mean, the upcoming what is it, White Lotus is an HBO show. We're keeping Max to watch that on HBO Max because I don't want to pay for like Netflix or cable or whatever. But that's the only thing keeping me using Max.
And I think Netflix had, to like that person's point, they don't watch everything that Netflix puts out. They watch like 5% of what they put out, right? Like they don't. A lot of people that I know, they're like, I won't watch a Netflix show until it gets that second season mark, until it gets popular on TikTok or everyone's talking about it. Unless it's the hottest thing, you're not watching like, I don't know, like Britney Goes to College or all the bullshit they put out like every week that no one gives a shit about.
Yeah. Jay Bradley Rollins here at the $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Echo the Dolphin was a garbage game. I'm not going to go to bat for Echo the Dolphin. If you don't like it, you don't like it. The Acolyte was garbage too. Put a little asterisk on that because I have a comment about that. Absolutely love Skeleton Crew. I think a lot of people that have not liked most of the more modern Star Wars stuff seems to like Skeleton Crew. But this is what happens, and I'm not blaming you, Jay Bradley. You don't have to watch anything you don't want to watch. But this is what happens when people just glaze everything as being bad. Like when you glaze all of something as being bad, when you have something that is good within that bubble, it gets
I think it's
kind of swept away with everything else.
I think it's the issue on both sides. It's when people glaze something as perfect, and then you glaze something, or you hate on something completely, or shit on something as awful.
No, I agree with you. That's why when people get mad at me for criticizing something, I'm like, I'm going to be honest about how I feel about it. I'm not going to lie about something.
Like,
You
the
know,
thing is, I agree with the elements there. I think there was a part of the Acolyte which got awful, but then there's bits where you're watching like, why is this part good? And then that
I
other
think
part
there's
is
right.
hard.
Well, I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that the way they distributed some of the episodes. If you look at the bad episodes, it was the same people involved with making the bad episodes. So what you do with that, look, this is the way you handle that logically. Going into season 2, you don't ask those people back again. It's that simple. You know the episodes that people didn't like. So all you have to do is go, we're going to move in a different direction. We're going to take the people that worked on the episodes we loved. We're going to give them more episodes. And that way the show is more consistent. But you have a show that was having growing pains because it was a new world in Star Wars, basically, with new characters that were trying to tie into some really old lore. They had an opportunity to do that. And they lead into a really exciting setup for another season, and then they get canceled. That, and I know even people like Bradley yourself that didn't like it, it doesn't matter to you, but the people that were tuning in for that is the audience that watches Disney Plus, which means the people that watch The Acolyte would have been the same people that watch Skeleton Crew. But Disney has told them they don't give a fuck about that. So they're not coming back for this. And what happens is it hurts the entire IP. I'm telling you, like, the constant negativity around it and the constant positivity around something hurts the IP. Yeah. When you're critical about something, it has to come from a place of honesty. You have to be really honest about what you love and don't love. Playing like the online culture war shit that people did with The Acolyte isn't going to make Star Wars better. No. It's not.
And Acolyte is just one of those very rare things where like people were hating on it before they saw a single piece of it. Like it didn't. It really, like, this could have been the greatest show of all time, and people still probably would have been like, "Oh, this sucks," or they're using what was there to boost that opinion from way before they saw a single trailer for it, which doesn't help.
I would disagree. Kathleen Kennedy has brought in more money for Star Wars than any other person in charge of these IPs. You guys keep saying this, and I know you're going to disagree with me, but when it comes to these companies, they look at money. The last Star Wars trilogy that came out made $4.4 billion for Disney Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I know people want to like glaze over that and act like that's not a thing. It is a thing. Right. And until something comes out and bombs at that level again, what are you laughing about? I
was yawning.
Until they have another failure of that level in theaters, not on the TV side. The TV side is different. Until they have a failure like that in theaters, we're not going to see a shakeup. It's not going to happen. She made too much money for the studios with that, which is why they want to get her back into the theaters again with the same characters. I know people don't want to hear that, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah. I know I just like pitched them doing like more Star Wars shows, but I actually think what will help them if they actually lessen on the Star Wars shows, because I do think that has hurt the fandom. I would say that's hurt their reputation.
I agree.
And then we'll get them back in the movies. I think if you do that, maybe 1, maybe 2 shows a year at max, and then a movie a year. And I think once you're back in the cinemas, you're back. Like, I think they're going to be completely fine.
Well, here's the thing, Omega. When it comes to the movies, you can go that the writers of that specific movie did bad, in my opinion. You could say that. But when you talk about a TV show like Acolyte, where you have different people writing the episodes, you can't say the whole series is bad when it's a couple of episodes where the writers were bad. You know what I mean? To say you disliked every single episode of an entire season of a show because all of them equally did the same bad stuff, I don't see that. I've never seen that, not even with The Flash or Arrow or any of the CW shows that we watch. You can look at those episodes, you can see who's associated with them, you can see how badly they've done. When it comes to a movie, there's clearly like one team on that is doing all of that. So I agree with you there, but not when it comes to TV shows. If something is good, it doesn't matter how much hate something gets online. Look at Wicked. Well, what does that have to do with anything, though? I don't see how that correlates. Like, The Acolyte was canceled less than a month after the finale. So it doesn't matter what any of the online discourse was. What that tells the fans of the Star Wars Disney Plus community is that Disney does not want to continue making the stuff they're teasing their fans with. I can't tell you how many shows I know end on a cliffhanger that I never go back and watch again. It's dead content. It is dead content on your streaming service.
Like Inhumans.
Yes, like Inhumans. You don't want dead content on your streaming service, especially not Disney. That's why they got rid of Willow. They yeeted Willow because Willow ended with the possibility of another season, and they didn't want to look like, oh, we have this show that's a dead show on our streaming platform. It's just not good. So it doesn't matter what anybody says about any of that stuff. That's just the reality of it. Let's see. Jay Bradley goes, I've seen every minute of
Star
Wars in live action.
Yeah. Oh, every episode is bad.
It could have been. This could have been sex work in Los Angeles, but
no. I disagree with you. Like, I don't think that. Look, you can say that they were I think he's talking about Acolyte specifically because he said Acolyte earlier in his super chat. I think that's what he means. I disagree with you. I think there's a couple of episodes of Acolyte that are really good, but I think Acolyte is a prime example of why going back to a actual TV format is better because of the way the episodes were cut, the pacing of the season. There's a lot of criticisms of it. I cannot vibe with someone and have a conversation with someone that does not look at the nuance of the stuff that they're criticizing. I can't do it. To blanketly say something sucked, but you cannot break down exactly what it is you didn't like about it, and you assume that every single thing about it is equally as bad, that is not the kind of conversation I enjoy as a fan of something. I just don't. Maybe that's the way you do it, and that's cool. It's not how I do it.
The way it is.
Some things will never change. All right, so let's move on here. Where we got it. We'll talk about this because I want to make sure I get this in here. So we were supposed to get this today, I think. The Daredevil Born Again trailer was actually supposed to drop today, according to everything I saw. But they have postponed it because of the LA fires. What are our thoughts on this? I'm wondering if there's something in the trailer that maybe they feel is insensitive to what's going on in LA, or do they think they just don't want to battle the news coverage of the LA fires?
I think from memory, can someone correct me? Because I don't know how it was broadcast in America, but I'd assume this would have been played during the football game, the NFL game.
Maybe. And
I think they're using all the ad space as promotion for donations for charities and like updated news reports and stuff like that. So that's how it's broadcast here in Australia, and you watch it. But like, we just get out like we're getting Hungry Jack commercials and stuff like that. So like, I don't know if that's what they would have done, but I don't know if that's what they replaced it with. Like, there was no proper ads, new ads. Yeah. They were filling it in with like charity stuff.
Yeah,
I saw glimpses of it.
Yeah, and also I also imagine they probably just think it's a little insensitive at the moment. Like with everything on fire, just like wait it out, let things settle down.
There's probably buildings on fire in this trailer, if I had to guess. There's probably fire somewhere in this trailer.
I mean, that's his whole thing. Like that's how he gets his powers, right? It was like the accident with the fire, right?
Yeah, so
and the oil.
Yeah,
so not powers, but like that's how he goes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say that they are powers to some degree because it is like something that you wouldn't see most heroes being able to do.
Well, it could have been on the nose, and like Kingpin's like, I'm going to burn.
I mean, it could be. You're right. It could be. Maybe they have to recut a new trailer. I don't know. We'll see when the trailer comes out. He says it's coming. I'm assuming they won't delay it by much, though. They might do it for a bit, but they're not going to delay it by much because the show comes out in March. They have to get the trailer out. So, So Anthony says Acolyte was mid. I don't have a problem with that criticism. I would even say that for me, it was just above mid. I think it had some good episodes and some bad episodes. So you guys, I think, and I'm not saying you, Anthony, but I think a lot of people misunderstand how I view media. Like, I have no problem with saying that I didn't like something. I think there's criticisms for Man of Steel, lots of them that I agree with, but I still enjoy that movie. I think there's a lot of weird behavior on the internet. Like back in the 90s when I was going to movies with my friends and I was just a wee little child back in the 90s, we would have conversations about the shit we loved and hated about things, but it still didn't change the way we felt about it. You know what I mean? Like we would go out and see, I don't know, what was a big movie back then? It will say Blade, like the Blade franchise or whatever.
Gone with the Wind.
So no, we'd go out and see like Blade. We'd come out of it and be like, yeah, that fucking part sucked, but you know what ruled this part of the movie? That doesn't happen anymore. People don't talk about stuff like that anymore. We've gotten to this position where media, especially here on YouTube and social media in general, has convinced us that you have to have one opinion about something, and that is the only opinion you're allowed to have. And I think that is a really dumb way to view media. Yeah. I think it's just really dumb. No offense to you. I think it's just dumb in general. Anyway, we'll see. I can't wait for this trailer to come out. I think it's going to be really good.
Did you guys see the? It's not political at all, I promise. But did you see the Joe Biden clip about the fires?
Yeah, when he was talking to Kamala, and he said, "What did he say? What was it?"
He said, "Fire away," and he's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. That's true. That is it. We have some Thunderbolts news here. This is taken from a longer interview, but this was the important part here, and I thought this was interesting. And it really dates people, probably dates me, because I remember when this movie came out. Sebastian Stan describes Thunderbolts as the Breakfast Club of Marvel. It's a weird group thrown together, and I think people are going to love it. And the interview covers a lot of stuff, but I wanted to talk about this because how many people, without Googling it, know what the Breakfast Club is right now in 2025?
Well, you know what the biggest issue is? That isn't it like one of the most popular LA radio shows called The Breakfast Club?
It is, with Charlamagne the God on it, yes.
Yeah.
But that's the reference people would get now because that's the name of that podcast. But if I were to ask you the movie The Breakfast Club, yes, there are people my age that still get that. Maybe that's the demographic they want coming to see this movie. I don't know. But a lot of people, when I was talking about this earlier, didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. They're like, what is The Breakfast Club? Do you feel like that's a weird comparison? Or do you think like he's talking about like classic cinema that everybody should know? I mean, what's the take on this?
I mean, I watched it in like a film class in high school, but like we watched it because of when it came out, and like we were doing the like different eras of like high school movies and stuff like that. I think it makes perfect sense. Like I had to think about it for a second. I was like, okay, I can definitely see what he means by that, where it's like a group of characters that wouldn't normally hang out being stuck together and having to bond. Like that makes perfect sense to me. But you're right. Like probably not everyone would be like, oh yes, my favorite film, Breakfast Club. Like
you know,
it's
interesting because it says like it's a weird group thrown together, and I think people are going to love it. Because it said, "Have you watched a James Gunn project?"
That's true. That's absolutely true. Let's see where we're at here. We have an hour left, and we are just shy of the halfway mark of our super chat goal. Remember, if we reach the goal tonight, we will do the bonus topic this upcoming Saturday that you guys voting on. So, and I do appreciate everybody's support. Thank you so much. Let's So I want to give some actual because I don't want to be a shill the whole stream. Give some actual Marvel criticism. I saw this tweet and it made me think. I know they're just trolling, shit posting, but I wanted to talk about this because I do think there's a conversation to be had here, and then we're going to talk about Captain America. But I love the current MCU trend of dramatically revealing new characters that we will absolutely never see again. Now, I didn't even think about this, to be quite honest. This never crossed my mind. But it's weird, isn't it? Isn't it weird? Like in the early phases, we saw characters, for the most part, they were always going to come back. They were always going to be someone, important down the road, or someone that we're going to see in another movie or whatever. We have these characters that are just kind of in a weird space. I don't care if this character ever comes back. I was not a fan of this. So Scar can stay far away from the MCU as far as I know. But will we ever see this character again? Probably not, even though he showed up in She-Hulk. You think we will?
I mean, he's Hulk's son, right? Like, I feel like they have to address it.
I mean, do they? You think so?
Young Avengers, probably.
Okay, well, maybe. But they haven't done anything else with him. He's just kind of here, right?
Right.
Then you have Hercules, which, by the way, love this casting. He's a great actor. I love this actor. Introduced this character in probably my least favorite Thor movie. I will still say that I prefer Dark World, and I know people are like, what are you talking about? I still prefer Dark World over Love and Thunder.
Probably Thor 5, I would imagine.
Yeah. I like this casting. I like the introduction. But again, we are in a spot where I think a lot of people, remember we were talking about superhero fatigue, we're dealing with like a drought. We're in a drought now of Marvel stuff. Like we had last year where we only had a few things come out, which is fine. I think it was a good reset. But we're in a drought where people are starting to realize there's stories that are not being done. These characters aren't being used. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Marvel is looking at what people are saying and they're just dropping things. They're not moving forward with things. I mean, I would love to see Thor 5. Do I want to see this character in Thor 5? Absolutely. But is he going to be used in another property? Are we going to see him somewhere else first? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this what's the build up to the characters? We're not seeing them cross over in other franchises either. So, or other IPs.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we still have to take into consideration Phase 4, Phase 5. That was COVID. That was strikes. That was the main villain of the saga having to be recast or reworked. Plus, I think Bob Iger had come back in around this time, which completely changed their plans. So the MCU that we were in beginning of Phase 4, where we were putting out Shang-Chi and Eternals and She-Hulk and Moon Knight, we're in a different Marvel. We're in a different. It's a completely different ballpark. And so I think that's why we've seen a lot of these. That's why there's so many of these.
Yeah, Star Fox just sitting here, nothing going on with this character, and then the
Eternals.
Other one,
there's 50 characters that they'll never bring back.
We have Dane here, Black Knight, also. It's so weird to me that, in the conversation I wanted to have about this, not just necessarily about this part, but is that we're in a weird spot where we have a lot of loose ends and it doesn't feel like a lot is being tied up. I would say, to me, if we look at everything that Marvel has put out since we started Phase 4, one of the biggest issues I have is where the fuck is Shang-Chi 2?
Yeah.
Where is that? That movie was solid. It was a good movie.
Well,
why have we not followed that up?
Shang-Chi 2 is most likely supposed to be Kang Dynasty, and that never happened. So now it was supposed to be Kang Dynasty. He was supposed to be one of the main characters, and then after that, it was supposed to be Shang-Chi 2 right after Secret Wars.
Right.
Then now that's gone. Right now that's not a thing. So now they don't know where to put Shang-Chi 2. Is it still after Avengers Secret Wars, or do they now put it above?
I mean, this takes me back to this was very reminiscent of my complaints earlier about the DCU and the Elseworld stuff. Like, having other things get sidelined because of the way you're setting stuff up doesn't feel rewarding to fans. Because you're right, everything you're saying makes sense. And I think we've all talked about this, about how everything had to shift and change. But the problem is the casual fans, or the normies as people would call them, they don't know that. So they just forget about it.
Right.
They forget about those characters. I think there's too much reliance on extreme fandoms, like the online communities, hyping these things up that Marvel just goes, it'll do good because the fans will hype it up. Yeah. Like, no, Shang-Chi 2 should have been out already. It should have came out a year ago, to be honest.
Yeah. And that's why I think going into Phase 6, the next saga, I want them to scale back on the number of characters they chose to follow, because I think that's one of the issues of Phase 4, 5, and 6 will be like, they just were trying everything, which was healthy, which was good, but then they had too much and they couldn't get back to where they wanted, which I think will help when you have teen movies. There's going to be a lot of teen movies going forward. Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Avengers, Young Avengers. So you can do more at once without stretching yourself too thin. I've also pitched for a while, I know we just got finished with one, but do an anthology series, if that's animated or live action, in the canon of the MCU.
Yeah.
So you could do a Star Fox movie. You could do a Hercules episode. Right. You can do a Eternals episode. You can do a Hulk episode if you want. You can do all the characters where you don't necessarily want to make them a movie or a whole show. Give them an hour of television, and then that's their story, and they can move on.
I mean, you could even do it like one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do one of those things like Werewolf by Night or the Guardians of the Galaxy special, where you just take an hour to wrap up their characters, or at least wrap up or satisfy where their story stops, so that you're not wondering what happens to them. I want to say Screwface here. This is the issue, though. I don't want to see teased. I want to see stories. I'm not somebody that collects baseball cards or buys comic books just to look at the cover. I want stories. I want these characters to be in stories that I can watch and enjoy. Right. Introducing them and teasing them does not satisfy me as a viewer, me personally.
Right. And they were supposed to do that spin-off show that's probably never happening with his sister.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We're probably never seeing that.
No, the one where she was supposed to be working with training the Assassins Guild or whatever, something like that. Yeah.
Can you scroll down a tiny bit?
Oh no.
No, it says a few more to add.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm afraid that it's a troll post, so I don't know what I'm scrolling
we'll just
into.
I mean, there you go.
Well,
The entire channel's.
Well, I mean, but they've already said that they may never do a full
few more to add. There's
Eternal
10
movie.
characters.
So yeah, I mean, look, I would be okay with them sort of delaying. Like, there's a lot of things that I think they should work on immediately. I don't think the second Eternal should be.
Click that photo of the Eternals.
Yeah.
How many of these 10 will not be returning? I think 1, 2.
What do you mean not returning?
Like, you just won't. If the Eternals come back, they won't be in the Eternals.
Well, we know Icarus is, unless he comes back as like another copy of himself. He yeeted himself in the movie, so.
And Sprite is like her story was done, basically.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. So Sprite would definitely not be coming back. We already have we had the What If episode with with the Eternals connection.
What's it called?
Akujimo. Oh.
Kimbo. I forget his name.
I'm watching you stumble. I'm just gonna sit here and let you stumble through it for a bit. While
no,
you're
I'm cheating. I'm looking at the cast. Kingo.
Yes, with the laser fingers. Yeah. So Think Noodle says, "What are your thoughts on Marvel Rivals? Also thoughts on Sexy Sue Storm Skid and the drama over apparently it's owning the woke. So annoying. I've got we're going to talk about Sue Storm here in a second.
Owning or owing? It owes it money.
I think it's owning.
It could be owing.
Thank you for being a channel member. Think Noodle.
It would be interesting if you owed the woke.
I don't think it. I don't
what
think
currency does the woke take?
What?
What currency does the woke take?
Well, apparently it's get woke, go broke. So I guess no currency.
I guess anything. Then if you, I guess, negative dollars.
Look, I would be okay with them taking a break on Eternals to finish up some of the other stories, only because I feel like these characters could come back at any point. But I
don't know if the longer it goes on, the less it seems like Kamal Nanjiani is Booster Gold.
I know. Yeah. I agree.
You think they'd announce it? It makes me think that he might be something else, or he's just maybe they might have him there as like a writer. I don't know.
Unless he's like in something else before Booster Gold, because it doesn't seem like they're working on Booster Gold. It seems like that's kind of put on the back burner,
like everything else.
I wonder if, unless he's in the Blue Beetle series, which I feel like they might be working on in the CW.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so I did have. Let me see here. Hold on, where are we at? So,
is that your bracelet, Eric, or is someone shuffling coins?
It's not.
Okay, it's your bracelet. Okay, it's your It's your jingle bells. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah. I wasn't sure.
It sounded like someone was had like 3 coins in their hand, chucking them up as if like, oh, I can't wait to spend these.
Okay, so I'm going to bring this up briefly only because I've made an executive decision not to talk about it tonight, but we will talk about it on Thursday. I want to wait a few more days. There is drama around Neil Gaiman, Sandman, and all that's going on right now. And I had the article pulled up, but I was reading through the article and I told Paige before we started, it's probably too graphic to have a full-on. Would you agree? I think it's too graphic to have a full-on cover.
There's some of the terminology. You're probably better off maybe summarizing it in notes and then taking out explicit.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that because I don't think there's any way to properly discuss what happened.
Or maybe if maybe you might be able to look at Variety or Hollywood Reporter, they might have a toned down version.
No, I had the Variety article pulled up. That was pretty graphic. So pretty graphic, yeah. So we are going to talk about it. I will save it for Thursday. Only because we're over 2 hours into the stream. The vibe is pretty solid. I don't want to if we talk about that, I'll have to skate around the issue. I think you don't want to
go here we go into the next paragraph. Everyone get hyped. I don't think you really want to be.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. So I will do it on Thursday, and I will do a separate this is when we're going to start talking about it. So anybody that doesn't want any sort of it's about essay and stuff like that. So anyway. All right, so with that being said, let us move over to this here. And pull up on screen. So we've got a few topics left, and then we're going to kind of just chat with everybody in the chat until we run the timer down. Captain America: Brave New World is eyeing an 86 to 95 million opening at the domestic box office over President's Day weekend. I didn't even realize it was President's Day weekend when it's coming out. Talk about, isn't
it Valentine's Day as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
What about Biden's doing? Oh no, he wouldn't be president, it'd be Trump.
Right, yeah. So
I think Trump will go and watch Captain America: Brave New World.
I actually think the only reason they're doing it is just because it's President's Day. I don't think they actually care who the president is.
I kind of want to see him buy tickets for Captain America.
It's like, would you go to like your local Washington D.C. theater and it's Trump? What would Trump get at the concession stand, Eric? Do you think?
I don't know. We're not going to talk about that. Okay, so
really? I think Trump would get. Yeah, I think he would, but I think he'd also get he'd get popcorn. But I think he might put something a bit like unorthodox in the popcorn. Like some people put like the M&Ms and stuff. I could see him putting like Jolly Ranchers maybe or.
Okay, so for comparison, according to Box Office Mojo, the first Captain America film opened at 65 million, which is the low end of what they would expect for like lower than this one. Captain America: The Winter Soldier opened with 95 million. Civil War had 179 million, but that one's a little weird because that was like an Avengers movie, even though it was Captain America. But this means that this movie would open, if it opens at its highest amount, it would be comparing to The Winter Soldier, which is a really good trajectory for this new like portion of the Captain America franchise. So what do we think based on although we've looked at like the list about, upcoming movies and who's excited for them and stuff like that. What do we think this is going to get realistically? Do you think it's going to do low end or high end? Where do we think it's going to land on President's Day weekend?
I think we're at a point where every MCU movie is going to be this. It depends on the word of mouth. It depends on the reviews. It depends on if people are talking about it. If people go that first weekend and they're like, "This is a terrible MCU movie. Don't watch this movie." Right. I think it's not going to do well. But if people come out like Guardians, be like, "Yo, this is one of the best MCU movies in years. You have to go check it out." Right. Captain America's back. All these things. I think people are going to check it out. I think we just saw this with Mufasa, where it opened up with like it had bad press, where it's like, okay, we hated the 2019 movie. Disney live action suck now. Blah blah blah. And then TikTok got a hold of it, and everyone was singing the songs, and everyone was talking about it.
That's my brother.
My brother.
When Paige said that to me, I was like, "This is either the best or worst thing that could possibly happen to this movie." So
I always wanted a brother.
So I think that's kind of going to be where this one is. I also think it helps that February, yes, there's Paddington, stuff like that, but it is still relatively, not that much competition.
Yeah, I think this movie is going to have a good platform in terms of what it's going up against, for sure. Right.
And then also, it's been a while since an MCU movie. It's been a good, 6-7 months.
It makes me wonder, was this delay intentional? Was it intentional? They were like, let's starve people in that way.
It's smart, yeah.
When this movie comes out.
I think it's honestly, they probably wanted that. Is Super Bowl on that weekend, or is it the weekend before?
You're asking the wrong person. I don't watch American football.
It's the weekend before, am I right? Does anyone know? I'm pretty sure it's the weekend before, so they probably want that Super Bowl ad. I wonder if they want that Super Bowl last push for. I'm pretty sure Super Bowl's the 10th.
Yeah. All right, so
9th. The Super Bowl's on the 9th. Yeah. Okay, the 9th.
Just so everybody knows, we are at 40 minutes left to reach the goal. We are 4 out of 10 in Super Chats on the Reloaded channel. If you want to get that bonus topic for this upcoming stream, then you guys can contribute. This will be the final bonus topic. If we don't hit it tonight, I will bring it back
Eric,
on Thursday. Yeah.
Will you be doing an RIP TikTok live stream on the 19th of January?
You know what? I absolutely... Wait, hold on. What day of the week is the 19th? Let me see.
I think it's Sunday.
It's a Sunday. If it actually gets banned, I will go. It's the day after the 15 hours or the 5 hours.
I'll tell you what,
let's do a 15-hour stream.
It's been really interesting to see the whole thing around it, because for me it's hard because I never use it as a creator.
I don't either. So
it's hard for me to have any sort of mindset because I've like seen people just like really getting upset about it. And I'm like, I can't really get my viewpoint around it because it's just me as a user where I watch stupid memes. I don't use it to watch someone give their opinion on a movie because no offense, I think if you're probably giving your opinion on TikTok, there's probably a reason.
TikTok is for people that consume media specifically on their phone. That's what TikTok is.
Right.
That's the difference between TikTok and YouTube. I think we saw a lot of people, they said that there was a couple of different apps that people have migrated to, like a lot of TikTokers have migrated to.
I think going to a new app is pointless. I think if you're going to migrate, you have to go to an already existing platform unless something starts to blow up in the form of TikTok. But no one that's big on TikTok was there when it first started. Like people got into it during COVID, and that's when they started getting followers.
Right.
And that's why I think it's so nostalgic for people, because I think it was that escape during COVID that helped them out, right? And I think if you're just like a consumer, like that was big for you because you needed that escape. You needed, like, COVID was during my junior year of high school, so we missed most of my junior year, most of my senior year, and I know many friends of that was our escape. That was like somewhere we can kind of go. And then for like on the creative side, when people were out of work, that was their job. They were able to find their career via TikTok. So I think it's very sad to see all these people who have relied on it as a job, as a source of income. It's like, yeah, we're getting laid off basically. Like we're losing a source of income that we've relied on these last couple of years.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is a lot of people don't realize that the TikTok shop where creators can sell things is pretty popular.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, so that's another thing. But before, because Paige, you jumped in before I finished what I was saying about the jumping to other apps. They're going to other apps that are new, but they're owned by the same company. Like ByteDance is the owner of one of the apps that people are migrating to, and the other one is still a Chinese app. So the problem is that they're going to these other apps that if this actual TikTok ban is about ByteDance or Chinese companies, those apps will also get banned too. I think that's what people don't understand.
Like CapCut that people use is under ByteDance.
Yeah. Lemonade.
Lemonade sounds like a fucking like lemon party situation. If you said go to Lemonade, I'd say, what is it going to be, like one man, one jar that auto plays or something?
I think the issue is if YouTube wants to be a competitor and bring in the TikTok people, the one thing they have to do, which maybe this will make things better for everybody in the long run, they need to stop being like so undecided on copyright stuff, because TikTok has a very relaxed policy when it comes to the way fair use works. And they have a deal with the record labels so that music used on there doesn't get videos taken down. It doesn't get accounts banned. I think if YouTube wants to actually be a competitor to pull in those TikTok people, because what's going to happen is the people that use TikTok for fun dances and things like that, they're not coming to YouTube. They can't, because YouTube doesn't have the deals that TikTok has. But you know who will come to YouTube? All the conspiracy theory people on TikTok that do the true crime stuff and everything. They will come over and start doing YouTube Shorts, because YouTube Shorts are now 3 minutes and you can live stream through YouTube Shorts just like you could on TikTok. So
I think the most interesting thing is the turn into like the change into long form content. That'll be interesting to see how many people come over to YouTube that normally do like a movie review. Like a movie review is like, here's my quick 2-minute thoughts on Lion King or Mufasa or something. Do they go and then do a 10-minute review on YouTube? And how do they transfer to the long form? Because I struggle going to short form. That's why I never really went to TikTok. It's like, how do I turn like my...
I do too. I have trouble with short form too.
6 minutes. I'm like, how do I put that into a minute? And at that point, I'm like, is it even worth talking about? Because I feel like you have to be very surface level. You can't really be... And I think that's why a lot of people that probably get their things from TikTok are very surface level, and they can't have a conversation about it. And I think that maybe affects the old brain, if you know what I mean.
So South Texas Shark, so if you look at what YouTube's done, it was all basically expecting TikTok to get banned. So let me explain this to you. The live streaming on shorts, the 3-minute shorts, the being able to tip on shorts with gifts and jewels and gems, whatever the fuck they're called, and the community notes thing. All of that didn't make a lot of sense to like this kind of content. But if you think of it as like them trying to compete with TikTok, it makes all the sense in the world. So I think the community notes thing was another thing that was added in specifically because they expected people from TikTok to come over to YouTube.
Yeah.
This is fake news, Fetman. TikTok came out and said that's fake. It's not real. So, and even if it was, I think at a certain point, he would not be allowed to continue to just buy similar companies, because that's part of the reason why, like, a lot of the big brands can't. Why it's why Disney doesn't own every other company in the world. You know, like, there are restrictions on that. If Elon can buy, Twitter, and then TikTok, and then Facebook, and then no, it's not going to happen. What are we sharing here?
Eric, I'm gonna send you a link here. I don't know if you already have it in your tabs or not. So if you do, just ignore it.
LinkedIn. Okay, got it. Let's see. Oh, that you're not going to believe this.
Is that
was literally that's literally the next thing we're going to talk about. Like, I had it waiting to pull up in the screen, but then Paigey shared that locked in meme that was awful, just as awful as the other one he shared before. But yeah, I had it pulled up here because I have 2 of these to go over. So we got, I think there's like 2 more topics, and then we're gonna see where we're at. It doesn't look like we're gonna reach the goal tonight, which is fine. If you guys do want to contribute, we got 30 minutes left to get 6 more super chats of any tier. All right, so let's do this. The Russo brothers say for a while they couldn't figure out an idea for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. They called writer Stephen McFeely about returning, who said, "Fuck no, absolutely not," and hung up. The next morning he called back. We ended up stumbling upon an idea that activated all of us. Thoughts on this?
I mean, it's probably not good because they're gonna have to start filming this movie by like the middle of the year.
Yeah.
If not earlier. I don't know. Are they filming these 2 movies back to back?
Yeah.
Like in the same,
Yes.
like they did with Endgame?
Yes.
God, you think you'd want to get rolling. But then again, I guess once Doomsday starts going, they can really
apparently
they're Secret Wars, but
they've been writing it, and I heard they're finishing up writing in a couple of months or here. So.
I think he said March is the deadline, right? To get it done. So
yeah, well, I think it's just because then they have to get into pre-production. So,
well, you know what's crazy to think about? End of this year, we're going to have a trailer, most likely, which is crazy.
Or they might leave it until. Is there a Marvel movie coming out at the end of the year?
This year?
Yeah, like end of the year, like back, like
last one is Fantastic Four.
So that's in the middle of the year. There's nothing.
No,
they could leave it till the Super Bowl or like sometime around then because they didn't start promoting. Oh, then again, they might just show it at Comic-Con or like a teaser at Comic-Con if it's a decent.
You're right.
Like even if it's like if they've only like a month into filming, they might have something to show.
I mean, they don't even need much. They just need like the music, right? Just like some background music, just like a shot, and just put the music playing. Or whatever.
I'll be honest. Once the Avengers theme starts playing, that's pretty much it.
That's it. That's all you need. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You know what the chat needs to do, Eric?
What?
The chat needs to lock in. That's what the chat really needs to do with the goal.
Do they?
They are geeked out. We have a geeked out chat at the moment. That little green frog that was like humping the air or whatever it was the other stream.
This is really interesting. So, are they locked in? They need to get geeked out on the goal, everybody. That's what
lock in. Don't get geeked out.
Oh, don't get geeked out. No, I was just looking. I went over to the MCU Phase 6 page, which has everything listed or whatever. For some reason, they don't have Thunderbolts listed.
That's random.
Because, it's weird.
Is it weird or random?
Wait, is Thunderbolts the end of Phase 5?
Yes. I mean, it was, unless they're changing it.
Let me see. Let me double check.
That's what it was supposed to be, which...
Yeah, it is. So Phase 5 was literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 movies.
That's about average, I guess. Phase 4 just felt long because we had so many shows.
Yeah, that's true. But there was no shows in Phase 5.
Yes, there was.
Because Ironheart's still a holdover from Phase 4, isn't it?
Yeah, but hold on. I have my letterbox. I had made a couple.
Is Echo considered a Phase 5 show?
Yeah, Echo, Agatha, What If.
Oh, Agatha. Right. Yeah, that's one.
Okay, I have my list here. It was Guardians 3, Loki Season 2, Deadpool, Agatha, What If Season 1 and 2, The Marvels, Echo, Ant-Man, and Secret Invasion.
They don't have Deadpool and Wolverine listed in Phase 5. On the actual Marvel wiki. Yeah.
And then you'll have Daredevil, you'll have Thunderbolts, and you'll have Captain America 4. So there'll be like 13, 14 projects in the phase.
Yeah. Interesting. So look, I would say Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars seems like something you could literally lift from the comic books. I don't know why they didn't have any ideas for it. The comic book has so many blueprints for what it could be. I just don't understand how you can say I have no ideas. Especially when they brought RDJ back as Doctor Doom.
Well, that was probably like before that, I would assume.
Yeah, this is probably like a while ago. This isn't like 2 weeks ago.
No. I know, but I'm saying like they had the titles of the movies established after the whole King fiasco, so they had to think about it, right? So they thought about it, and they're like, "We're going to do Doomsday," and I guess at that point, because I didn't read the article, I just this is the tweet I'm seeing. They had the titles of the movies before the scripts were even done, correct? I mean, that's usually the way it works with Marvel.
Maybe. I mean, they probably didn't know what Doomsday exactly. Like, they probably based Doomsday around Downey coming back and be like, okay, we're gonna make Downey Doom and stuff like that.
Which is just what I was saying. If they knew that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be Doom in Doomsday, they could have just looked at the comic book and said, we're just going to adapt the story from the comic. So
yeah, but they probably didn't have that set in stone when they were first asked. When like they were first approached to come back, they were probably like,
"Oh,
okay.
you mean the titles of Doomsday and Secret Wars? You think they just asked them prior to that, like they were saying?"
Yeah, I think they were like, "Okay, we are doing Avengers 5, we're doing Avengers 6. What are your ideas? Kind of, what are you thinking?" Obviously, they probably had a through line where you have to get to Secret Wars, but I bet they were like, okay, what are your kind of feelings on coming back to this? And I bet it was probably just like a lack of inspiration and just being like, okay, what inspires us to want to come back, to want to return to this kind of franchise?
So Paigey is sharing the meme.
Oh, no.
So for example, on the left, we have the current chat. On the right is what we need the chat to do.
I can't believe we're not going to reach the goal. This might be the first time we don't reach it.
I have to ask Eric.
Could it be the first time we don't reach the goal?
Eric, I have to ask. Is the reason you pulled this up is because you could see me dragging it left and right and moving down below?
No, I didn't. But I thought it was funny.
So the chat, that's you on the left at the moment. We need you to do what's happening on the right. Locking in.
All right. Well, and I actually did what Darren suggested. I set it at the maximum, which is 3 hours. I was like, there's no way we're not going to hit the goal in 3 hours, right? No way. We have to hit the goal in 3 hours. That's what I thought when I did it. I was like, we're going to do it. But anyway. All right. So let's bring this back up. You don't want to be geeked out. You want to be locked in. But here we got this here. Christopher Marcus will not be returning to co-write Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. He previously co-wrote Thor, The Dark World.
Not a flex.
Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
Minor flex.
Civil War. Avengers
Flex.
Infinity War, and Endgame.
Heavy flex, decent flex.
So I didn't read the article. Maybe I should click on it. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. Why do we think he would turn this down? Is it just the fact that it's so stressful? Is that why?
I don't know.
Does he not want to be associated with it? So I don't know. So
maybe, but then again, the pressure. I mean, they heaps of pressure.
Yeah. So see, Anthony, that's why I said should I click on the article? I don't know. It's because he's running Russo Brothers production company. But is that the real reason why? Is that the real reason, or is that like the I don't want my bosses to be mad at me reason? So I have to focus on work. Because I know how it is when you're at work and your boss is like, "Are you doing okay?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Thumbs up all around." And you're really not doing okay. You know what I mean? Like you're just not having a good day. So I don't know.
I'll tell you what though.
I'll
tell you what Christopher Marcus needs to do. He needs to be like Darren and lock the fuck in. That's what Christopher Marcus needs to do.
Yeah, he does. Look, so Darren is locked in. I just saw that. 999 super chat. Darren has locked in. He's like, I am contributing. Here we go. He wants to get to this DC fan film discussion.
Christopher Marcus geeked out. Darren locked in.
So Defunct says we failed you. We failed you. I don't know if in what way is we? What way is that being used here?
Is that
Cannon says we finally caught up to stream. That was a marathon.
He was shit talking you before Canada Golf, so I don't know if you heard that in.
Oh, so Darth Zen, that's the thing we don't know. We have no idea. We don't know what his contribution to the film.
Yeah, like one of them can be plot and one can be dialogue. Like that's why they teams come together. Someone's better at plot, someone's better at dialogue, and sort of that chemistry and stuff like that.
I can say there was very little downsides to those movies, except for Thor: The Dark World.
But you think they're all strong in regards to the plot side of things as well as
right. So if that was what he was responsible for, we could be in trouble.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting. I don't know if they ever really reveal, like they ever talk about what their strengths were, like who wrote what.
Yeah, good night, Darth Zen. Have a good night. Look, South Texas Shark, $2.
Let's go.
You know why he's locked in? Because he's not Echo the fucking Dolphin. He's South Texas Shark.
So, like, how did you even come up with that? How did you even come up with that?
Geeked out. Echo the Dolphin geeked out back in the 80s and 90s. South Texas Shark in 2025.
You fucking serious?
That was really good.
The fuck in.
Oh my god, I don't even know. Where did we go from that? Calling back to earlier in the stream with Echo the Dolphin with a locked in. All right.
You know what? I'm so tired. That guy on the left I thought was Michael Rosenbaum at first.
Oh my god.
The guy on the right looks like slightly Asian, but I don't think he's Asian either. He's not. But he sort of looks like, what's his name?
What? What's his name? I don't know.
The dad from Veronica Mars. I can't remember his name. Ernie? Is it? No, Ernie's like, that's Bert. Oh no, it's Ernie or something.
All right.
No, but the guy on the left looks like. Does he really look like Michael Rosenbaum?
I think he looks a little bit like him, but
he sort of looks like
I'm tired.
No. He sort of looks like he looks like that dude.
Well, here we go.
That bald guy.
Let's talk about this. We talked about promotions and there's also some controversy, but we'll get to that. Google searches for Invisible Woman have increased nearly 50 times in the past month since her debut on Marvel Rivals.
Is that for gooning purposes though? Because I feel like it might be.
Yes.
Probably, but gooning can be rewarding in other ways.
It sounds like you're speaking from experience, Eric.
It can be rewarding in other ways because what this does is it leads to more visibility for the Invisible Woman. You see what I'm saying there? More visibility for her, leading into the movie, which is exactly what it is we wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know if Marvel Studios that in their thing they have prime like marketing strategies, and then like one of the bubbles is gooning purposes. Like I don't know if they. I don't know. Maybe
Eric's question.
Well, I was going to say maybe in like Bo DeMayo's advertising room they might have that, but I don't know if they'd have it in like.
Well, it worked for him when it came to his OnlyFans, right? Didn't that work?
Yeah, but I don't think anyone was gooning to Bo DeMayo. If they were, what are you doing?
So a lot of people were talking about the Malice costume.
Oh, thank you, Omega, for the breakdown.
I didn't even look at it, but so here is the Malice costume.
What is this meant to be, Sue Storm?
Yes.
Well, they know what they were doing, weren't they? What's next? The Invisible Woman gets an invisible suit, but the rest stays not invisible. It stays visible.
Well, I want to show you. I got to do this because there's a lot of pictures in here that are not appropriate. So hold on.
I must say, do not scroll down because I feel like there might be some.
Oh no! I've already seen.
Hentai or
but
something
but
like
this
that.
is the image that everybody's sharing, which is this right here, which is the from the back shot.
What's the context of this in the comics? Is this like a wall?
So Malice is like a being that inhabits someone else's body. So it's like Sue Storm, but someone else is in control of her, basically.
They knew what audience that they're catering to.
Okay, so I want to say
because you made this stream so filthy, Eric, by bringing up gooning. I really looked at Anthony Beltre's chat in a very dirty light, but I think it was actually meant to be a very wholesome thing in the chat.
Wait, this one right here.
Yeah.
So I want to point out a couple things. They're saying that this is somehow owning the woke because I guess woke people don't like women being in control of how they look and their bodies and stuff. The character here with Sue Storm being dressed up like this or whatever has to deal with like an entire storyline in the comics, which is a classic storyline. And I don't think there's anything wrong with taking a classic storyline and translating it into a modern game. I also don't think there's an issue with people who want to look at people's bodies, or I don't have an issue with that. Go back to gooning stuff or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. The only time I have an issue with any of that shit is when it's being done with a human being, a person that doesn't want to be objectified. Otherwise, I don't care. It's a design from the comics. I think she looks good. I think she looks cool here. You know, they've already got other characters cheeked up. I mean, you've seen the Namor stuff. Namor's been talked about. Black Panther's been talked about. So that's the thing, as one Marvel fan, it's a little too chaotic for me. I'm not big on these types of games, so I don't mind watching them. But
I was always surprised when I saw that game. I was like, "Oh, Overwatch like as a clone is an interesting game," just because Overwatch can be very like you're really into it, but you have to be good at it. If you're not good at it, you fucking hate that game. It's not casual like Fortnite or something or COD. Like if you're like shit at Overwatch, you're not going to play Overwatch.
So here's the look from the comic. So as you can see, it's very much inspired from this. It's just an updated version of this. And this is from like 40 years ago plus.
This is something that someone would wear to goon in, to be completely honest. We've broken the seal, may as well just keep going. I mean, this is very like goon centric.
I mean, let's play like devil's advocate here. I feel like women's attire in comic book media has definitely evolved, right?
Yes.
It's just something
100%.
More respectable in many regards. Not that I have an issue with that or anything, but it's just like I can understand why people would be upset that maybe we're degrading women or we're, like objectifying certain things, depending on the context.
Well, I think that comes down to more of the player base than it does the creation, because it's quite possible they didn't intend necessarily for that to be the case, because we've seen people act that way over stuff that is not even, you know what I mean, like people
like remote,
stuff.
like it's not, like intent, or even just if something's designed and stuff, like
right,
like something you just say like I get people have asses, but then like the people that do like an angle and stuff and just go, oh,
I know. I get what Darren is saying, and I don't disagree with that, but I think what it ultimately comes down to is essentially if you view the media as being disrespectful to the subject.
Right.
And I think if we're going by like a classic comic book storyline, like to be fair, if you look at this, and I have to jump away here because of fucking, it is the internet. If you look at that, and then you look at the actual design here, this one is actually more covered up than the other one.
Well, yeah, because the other one's just got like a boob window, and that's
right. Like this one, the top half of the suit is relatively.
Well, the boob window's got a visor on it.
Yeah, it's just the caked up part in the back.
You know when you park your car in the sun, you have to put like the sunshade on. That's sort of like what this.
Yeah, it's a sunshade for boobs. It's a sunshade for boobs.
But it's like classy. It's like I don't know. It's almost like a nice curtain or something like that.
Look, there we go, gooning up.
To be honest, gooning is not. To be honest, we should not be gooning. That's not. You're not logged. If you're gooning, you're not logged in. Gooning is a very geeked out thing to be doing. So we've made an incentive to be locked in this chat. So gooning should not be, we should not be like promoting or at least giving a round of applause to gooning. Yeah, I don't want to say. I don't look, Omega. I don't want to say never goon. I'm not
I just think you want to keep saying the word because I think we got the point.
But we just can't. It just can't be the focus. Gooning cannot be the focus of this when we are trying to lock in. If we're geeked out at the beginning, goon away. But when we are locking in the back half of this stream, it needs to be on side. At least in the back of your head. Save it for later.
Okay. Defunct with $2 towards the goal. Look, we might make it. 2 super chats away with 12 minutes left to go.
Do you want to read out yours truly's chat? We might actually made it.
What? You want to do what?
Do you want to read out yours truly's chat?
I'm not reading it. I pulled it up on the screen. I've done my part. We're not going to read that. Oh my god. Think Noodle says those people use an opportunity to make things political for grift reasons. Absolutely, because here's the thing: I didn't see anyone complaining about this. Like we talk about like the progressive community or outside of the anti-woke community. I didn't see anybody saying anything negative about this. They started out like they're gonna hate this because she's sexy. Like, no, bitch, do your thing. Like, yes, mama, yes, do it. Like, you know what I mean?
Speaking of locking in, has anyone ever seen the series on YouTube by Santa Cruz Medicinals called Locked In? It's a good series on YouTube. It's the only thing I've been watching, like I've watched recently on YouTube. I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good stuff. I usually go back and watch old shit. Like old meme videos and stuff like that from like 10 years ago. But I watched that recently. I was like, that's a pretty good series.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, that's my advertisement. That will stop you gooning for a bit.
All right. So, Paigey, I think in order to get our final 2 we're in the home stretch now. 10
How many do we
left.
need to hit the goal?
2 more to get
2 any. What? 2 what color?
Any. It's any. Yeah, it's I haven't
any
said
super
so,
okay.
Yeah. So it's 2 more to get completely locked in here. We're gonna look at Marvel Rivals, but it's brain rot. Somebody sent this to me.
Oh god, I think I might have seen. I've seen this first one. I didn't see a minute worth of brain rot.
It's a very short video, but I feel like if this hits, we will get those final 2 lock-ins, and we will reach our goal for the stream. So here we go, Marvel Rivals, but it's brain rot. Let's go.
What the
god?
Biggity!
Is this what you wanted in Marvel Rivals?
No. Oh my god, amazing. Actually amazing. That's cool though. What?
Oh my god, he goes skinny?
Oh no.
Oh no, not this.
Skibbity. No.
I know I'm supposed to be a chill guy and low.
Oh god, chill dude.
I'm just a chill guy in here.
He's just a chill guy.
What the Oh, I love Marvel Rivals. They put
what's the potato?
Going here?
Guys, today we got the guy.
Do you know what the potato is?
I don't get the potato. I must have missed that brain rot seminar. What's the potato?
Does anybody know?
What's the potato mean?
I've
Is
seen
it a potato or like a nugget, like a chicken nugget? Something?
I've seen it. I don't know what the fuck it's from.
There we go. $2. Never gooning up. Get locked in. We are 1 super chat away from reaching the goal. The anticipation is killing.
I must say, whoever does the next super chat to get us over the goal will officially lock us in. That's a title to have. You have officially locked us in for this stream. You don't want to be the one that geeked us out. You want to be the one that locks us in.
All right, here we go.
You look at Eric. Eric, look at the camera. You are he's look that if that does not look like a guy that wants to log in. But I don't know. Don't show me anyone else because he clearly is ready to lock in. But he's also on the precipice of geeking out as well.
Oh, that part. Let's
we do not want to see that on stream.
Help me! I'm gonna vomit. I'm actually gonna vomit.
Hold on. What? Stop it, Eric. Stop it.
Yeah.
We've locked in. We've officially locked in.
Look at that. Look at the confetti coming down.
Yeah, look. But you know what? A perfect time to fucking pause it because this cunt on screen is geeked out. This Mike Wazowski dude that we've got a perfect comparison. We've got a geeked out dude on screen, Mike Wazowski, and Eric is officially locked in, which he might be officially the first person in history to be wearing pink glasses but actually be locked in. He might be the first person in history to lock in while wearing pink glasses.
So we've hit it.
Oversized pink glasses, might I say.
We're going to get, you know what? I think Saturday's 5-hour stream is going to be locked in and not geeked out. I think that's what's going to happen 100%. So, all right, let's finish this brain rot video. All right, we 41 out of 59 seconds, and we're here. All right.
Oh, what else is there?
What the?
It's a Mike Wazowski inside of Mike Wazowski.
Oh my god! Why is that? Whoa!
Among Us?
You got the J's on?
Oh
The
god!
Among Us strip.
What the?
Oh my god!
The Rizzler.
Oh, he's gonna give him the.
Wait, the Rizzler's the Punisher.
So what do you think about the Diddy scan? What do you think about that one?
I don't know. I think that might be insulting to Chadwick Boseman's legacy. Just to have him
It's
as Black Panther.
100,000% insulting.
I don't know. I don't know what Chadwick
legacy.
Boseman are you thinking that.
That's why it's considered brain rot. Okay.
Yeah. I think the rest of them aren't too bad. I don't like the skibbity toilet. That not too sure about that one.
All right, one
But
last
the
thing.
Rizzler, I have to say the Rizzler at the end. To be honest, I
Right.
sort of want to play as the Rizzler. He looks like he might be able to.
All right,
Probably
one
better character than
last
the
small
Punisher.
thing we're going to do here, then we're going to see who wins. By the way, vote on the poll quickly to select what the final bonus topic for Saturday is going to be. It should be at the top of the chat for most people now. All right, here we go. And only true YouTube people are going to know anything about this. If you don't know about this, you are completely locked out. You're geeked out. You're not locked in if you don't know about this. So we predict the new horror movies directed by YouTubers Chris Stuckman and Marky Plier, which, by the way, they spelled his name wrong, will surprise audiences and studios alike and become decent box office hits in 2025.
I think the Markiplier one. I think Chris Stuckman's will be a better movie, but Markiplier's will make more money.
Yeah. Isn't the Markiplier one based on like a popular game? It's like a video game franchise, right?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
don't know.
Let me double check. Hold on, let me double check.
Yeah, it's like a
The Chris Stuckman one definitely has the most pressure on it because he spent like the past like decade doing criticism, like being a
Right.
critic and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
Iron
it's
Lung.
Iron Lung video game. Yeah,
Right.
that's it. Yeah.
Oh, so okay.
So
What's the
okay,
game about?
I have my thoughts on this whole Chris Stuckman thing because I used to watch. He was one of my favorite movie reviewers because he was very comprehensive. Back in the day, he would talk about the good, the bad, whatever.
He was very fair, like down the road, didn't
Yeah.
he? And he wouldn't sit there and like have an agenda like, oh, like I'm a DC fan, I have to love this.
Yeah.
I'm off it. Like he'd be like, I
And
like this, not the best here.
he would get locked in at the end of the year and do like his favorite movies and his least favorite movies of the year. And then one year he gets on camera. Here's what he did. Let me show you how he did this because I think it's really important to get this right. I cannot in good conscience continue to talk negatively about Hollywood by doing a worst movies of the year list. So moving forward, I will not be doing them. That's what he did.
Oh, hold on.
And for me, that was one of the big strikes. I was like, wait a minute. I don't mind that you don't want to focus on negative stuff. I get it. Totally get it. But that was once a year. You did it once a year, and you basically just did a rundown of the movies that you didn't like from the year. So I don't see how that was any different than just making the review that was like I didn't like the movie. But then when he was like, I'm no longer going to do critical reviews of movies because now I'm a filmmaker myself, I was like, wait, hold up. That made me think twice about it too, because looking at it now, I think part of the reason he stopped doing it is because he was hoping people weren't going to be negative about his movie. I think that's why he stopped doing it. Because
Well, I think
he still
regardless,
does.
he'd have.
No, he still does some reviews, but he just doesn't do negative reviews anymore.
Yeah, I think regardless, even if he'd stopped last year or 5 years ago, he probably still has that pressure, especially because he got the funding because there's like a Kickstarter and stuff because people watched his YouTube stuff. So
Right.
like, there's always going to be that added pressure. It's like, well, especially if there's a horror movie, because like this is going to be like a horror. Well, they're both horror movies. I don't know if it's a horror thriller or something like that, but if there's going to be a horror movie that he reviewed 6 years ago and shat on it, but then his movie is maybe of a similar quality or something, or maybe has some similar tropes or whatever. It's like, oh, hold on,
1000%. I mean, that's what I thought about when he said that immediately. And like looking at it now, I'm like, yeah, that's probably why. But I want to point out that horror movies are also inexpensive to make.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, is it's cheap to make the movie and it could potentially make a lot of money. So I think that's another reason.
Well, I think he sold it. I think he did it. I think he took it to a film festival, and Mike Flanagan's producing it. So but that could just be like in name, like, and stuff like that. I don't know. I was clapping. I was worried that as soon as you said that, I'm like, what did it sound like on the other side? That's right. I'm worried that I might have come across as
South Texas Shark donated to his Kickstarter. Look, I like Chris Stuckman.
I think, like I watched it.
This is not a negative of him,
because there's always that people that watch like that Jeremy Johns dude, or you watch Chris Stuckman. If you wanted to watch like a movie review, it was pretty much those two back in the day. If you wanted, like, if they were reviewing like a movie like that's maybe not in like a franchise or something.
He used to do the funniest shit. His reviews of like Dragon Ball, that movie was one of he did 2 different ones. They were both amazing. And I really enjoyed that about him, because he criticized it in a way that wasn't brain rot, if you know what I mean. Like, it wasn't just like, it's woke, women are in it, there's a black person, they did a gender swap. Like, he didn't review movies like that, and I always respected that about him.
Yeah, and like, to kind of go back to your point of like why he's kind of changed his, like, how he does it, like, you also have to think he is going to, if he's a success working along these people, working along these other filmmakers and writers and directors, and he doesn't want to have to be like, yeah, I shit on your movie 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Hey, I complained about your movie 2 years ago. I think it's pretty common from what I hear in the industry. Once you go to YouTube, to professional, movies or TV shows, you kind of step away from being publicly negative on anything, which I think is smart, because now you're in the limelight, you're putting yourself forward, and you don't want to be a huge hypocrite being like, no, this is not how you make a movie, and then you do that exact same thing when making your own movie. Right,
but that makes me wonder, though, that to me speaks towards your credibility, though, because you should be willing to take the negative criticism if you do something wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if you do something that you criticize people for, like, you should be able to take that criticism. But I understand what you're saying, is that he doesn't want to be seen as someone that said, I don't like when somebody does XYZ in a movie, and then he does it, and then they look at his movie and they're like, you did it, and then it ruins the chance of his movie being successful.
Yeah, I think it's also from his point of view, it's like him jumping into filmmaking and stuff like that. He probably wants to, like, not only himself, but maybe surround himself with the more positive side of it than looking at and critiquing someone else's work, or even just focusing on someone's work to the point where you are negative, or you're trying to point out the negatives in something that might not be that bad.
I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, I think it's okay if you want to focus more on the positive stuff. I don't have an issue with that. But he did away with, like, doing something that people, I think, appreciated, which was actually critiquing the filmmaking and not necessarily doing the anti-woke stuff, which is
I think that's the issue nowadays. We talked about it before. It's like either like people are just going to hate something, or they go to glaze it, and there's no sort of like middle ground. I feel like he was probably one of those. There's still people out there, but they're probably people that don't get, like, they're not like some of the bigger accounts, which, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Twitter, whatever it is, where, like, it's one of those two things. Like, they're just saying something's woke, stupid, or something, or they're on the other side, wow, this new Marvel or DC thing is amazing. No faults here.
All right, so we've got our final bonus topic for Saturday.
We bring the boom.
Top 5 favorite DC films. That's our bonus topic, voted on by you guys.
Well, for the Saturday, for the 5-hour stream.
Yeah. Like I said, all of the quote-unquote topics that we're going to have, I will send out to everybody. It'll be in the group chat, so everybody kind of knows.
Well, I did say this, but I did create a quiz for that stream.
Yeah, we're still doing that.
And it will be so. I think we should bring on 2 or 3 people to part 2 verse.
Well, I know. I don't know if you're still available, Darren, but I know you wanted to be here for the 5-hour stream at some point.
I can be there.
And we might do it as like an icebreaker, maybe, to separate the thing. Or whenever I wake up. Are you still starting at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, so whenever I wake up, which will be like 2 or 3 hours into the stream.
I have a couple of things. We're going to wrap up after this, by the way. I know Darren's getting tired. But I have a few things here that I want to cover. fan casting stuff. We're going to talk about Penguin finally on Saturday. I wanted to have Boba on for that, but he streamed tonight, but he still hasn't got back in touch with me, so I don't know what the deal is.
Boba is currently 110% geeked out.
Yeah, he's not like that at all.
You should just send him that video with that green thing.
Fetman says on a scale of 1 to Diddy, how edgy will the quiz be?
Well, I can hold on. Let me just do this quickly. We bring the boom.
Make it very quick because we're gonna jump out of here.
Okay. 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 1 second. Okay.
All right. Eric's sticky aftermath.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That sounds really gross.
So you can see the up top there's DC TV, MCU, history, music, general knowledge. So those are the 5 categories in the sticky aftermath.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's probably not good that that's come up after the whole gooning sequence that you brought into the stream, Eric. I wrote that 2 nights ago.
Cameron, did you not hear? I thought you were here when we talked about that.
He might. I think he came in just after.
Okay,
like literally like a minute or two.
I had it pulled up, but then I decided that it was too deep for the conversations we've been having. So we'll talk about it on Thursday. We'll probably start the stream off with it, just to sort of cover it because I feel like over the next few days we're going to get more information. So I'm kind of glad to sort of wait on it, but we'll talk about that on Thursday. All right, before we go, I want to thank you guys. We have we've already exceeded the monthly goal. So you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for, as Paigey would say, being locked in here and getting us to the monthly goal. I will be live again tomorrow to do my fan films. That's going to be like an hour and a half stream. Check to see the time zone you're in. What was funny about that?
I googled Locked In. There's a movie called Locked In. There's multiple movies called Locked In.
I know.
But
yes.
There's also a thing here called Geeked Out vs. Locked In. But it says Roblox. It's in Roblox.
Oh my god. Oh no. Anyway. All right, so I'll be live tomorrow. It's going to be 4 o'clock my time. I don't know what time that is for everybody else, but it's 4 o'clock my time tomorrow. And we'll be live for about an hour. I'll be watching Batman Year One. That's the main one. And then a couple of other short films that have been suggested in the community tab. Thursday, we'll be back with the Nocturnal Nerdcast again. And then I'll be here on Saturday with pretty much everybody, I think. Thanks, everybody, for being here, hanging out.
Except sure Ben. He definitely won't be there.
Yeah, Ben won't be there. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Watch it on playback. There shouldn't be anything removed from this unless YouTube comes after me for the whole conversation we had about Sue Storm, which I don't know if they will or not, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Darren, for staying up late. Thank you, Paigey, and thanks to chat. We'll be back. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Oh, yeah.